Happy Friday! Welcome to our Friday weekly witchy hangout. We do this every single Friday. If you are new here, where we blend our energies together, we ask a juicy question about our personal lives, and we enjoy that and we enjoy ourselves. And we usually have a nice drink and some nice company, and welcome. So today we have a juicy topic, I think, which is what do they misunderstand about you? Because this is the crux of a lot of issues. A lot of it just comes down to misunderstanding and communication and not knowing how to communicate ourselves. And so if we can pull back the veil and just try to understand possibly like where a misunderstanding is coming from, what's blocking our own vision, as Jesus said, first remove the log from your own eye, which is something that we all have more control over than we have over other people, then good things can happen. So that's what we're trying to do here today. And we have 3 piles as per usual, and we also have an anchor card. And I know a lot of people in these audiences, we all read tarot for each other, where we've all got a touch of that, intuition. And so I feel like we always read the cards together because I pick up on the general energies. And of course, any of your own intuitive hits may apply to your situation and other people's situation as well. And it's important to tap into that, figure out what resonates for you and what doesn't. So I know some people in their process in doing that, they love to know what the anchor energy is, and that that anchor card energy is a base energy that goes into all 3 of these piles. It's like some kind of unifying energy. And for some reason, I'm hearing like unifying and like misunderstanding, like unification, finding that place of unification. So the misunderstanding frequency is kind of disrupting the unification frequency. It's like I just heard, can we get on the same page? And so maybe that's something here, but it is this comic energy. So get a good look at that. This is not one of the choices for the piles, but this is just like a base energy. That little cat. Okay, so then we have all 3 of our piles here, which you probably have already looked at for those of you that were here before the stream started. But even if you have not picked your piles, you can gaze, you can gawk, you can marvel, you can wonder at these selections before you here now. There are 3 of them. The first card is the offering. The second card is the unseen. And the third card is the mountain. So I'll put that back up there, and we can just take this moment of silence together, and you can just take a moment to meditate and to draw your attention inwards. Just turn that awareness to the inner space. And then just allow the energy, the distractions all to drop, to diffuse, to move away as you connect with the deepest part of self, going through layers of emotion and inner turmoil, or your list of things to do today, and allowing it just to drop until you get to that baseline energy of that inner observer energy. The part of you that knows itself to be beyond space and time, to be beyond the meat sack that it is currently inhabiting, that watches as things roll by. I just heard in my mind from Eat, Pray, Love, Katut, who is the medicine man, and he instructs her to do the meditation where she smiles even in her liver. So if you want to picture all your organs smiling or anything like that, then now's the time to do that as well. I just heard, I know things can be scary sometimes, but we are always here for you. So for some of you, that's a message from your guides that just wanted to come through. Okay. Once you have chosen your pile or multiple piles, keeping in mind that in a non-paranoid way, in a non-obsessive compulsive way, I do believe that there's value in the things that occur in this sacred space that we have set together, the space that is coming together for this tarot reading. So the way in which you are drawn into your piles can potentially be a clarifying message in and of itself, especially with so many people tuned in here. It could illuminate something about your path to the truth or your path to a level of understanding, that you go through one pile's level of understanding to another pile in your particular situation. It could mean that there's some projection going on, or there's, where you tap into your own energy and you're like, oh, this is me. And spirit could be telling you, look, go through your own perspective, go through who you know yourself to be, go through your own position first, whether that's emotionally or what your level of need is. And only through looking through that, kind of like the relationship of the south node and the north node, you have to come up from the south node to look at the north node in order for it to be seen and understood in its holistic quality. So just being able to do that can sometimes be spirit saying, this is not going to make sense to you unless you come up from your perspective. Or potentially the other way. They're saying, look, you have to understand the other person's perspective and try to get to the why, try to get to the heart. That keeps coming through in this intro, just to get to the why. And sometimes getting at the why, we have to cut through layers of misunderstanding is what I'm hearing. Like within ourselves and the way that we project ourselves onto the world. I'm literally hearing that. And the way that we perceive the world, we have to be willing to check that first and foremost. It's just like cleaning your windows is what I'm getting. But there's psychological methods in our ability to be able to do that, which is just our willingness to question ourselves and our stance and our perspective, while also holding space for our needs. Everything in life is this great balancing act, you will find. And it's about getting the balance just right. And it's not necessarily about rushing to one level of consciousness or one camp over another. Not necessarily, but sometimes it is about that. I just heard. Okay. So let us move into somebody was asking, I'm hearing crows in the background, so that could be for somebody. But somebody was asking if we've named these little guys, and Alex compiled all of the names, and we were gonna put up a poll on Patreon, and he was like, oh crap, I forgot to do that. So we're gonna put that up there, and if you would like to vote on it, on what we should name them. Somebody did say Homer, and I kind of hope that Homer wins. I don't know. He does look like a Homer to me, kind of, but you don't have to agree. But together we will find what their names should potentially be. Although I have kind of been relating to this one as Homer. And we'll take a picture of, because I got another one. I got a gray one too. So anyways, moving on from that, we will move into pile number 1, which is the offering. Let me just get a little drink here. And of course we're going to compassion. Compassion, compassion, compassion. All right. Oh. All right. I'm going to actually start pulling some cards here on this. Actually, hold on. All right, so spirit for pile number 1. Is this what I want? Yeah. Okay, spirit for pile number 1. What does their person misunderstand about them? Of course, perspectives and energies can be flipped and reversed. That might be what somebody here misunderstands about you. So there could be projection going on here in this pile. Okay, I'm getting that actually very strongly, that there is some level of projection here. And it comes from childhood with the offering, and it is affecting like what is potentially offered here. And there's some confusion about choice as well. And there's confusion about the process behind that choice, like what they can't see. That might be like a maneuvering energy, and it could be, and the intention behind that maneuvering energy. So it could be a maneuvering in order to try to see something, in order to gain knowledge. Somehow this maneuvering is connected to knowledge. For some of you, this may actually connect to a kind of cruelty testing energy, where it is weirdly a way of trying to explore your world. Or I'm not saying that I vouch for this in any way. I'm just saying this is sort of where something comes from here. They don't understand where an energy kind of comes from. It's very childlike. Something here is in its lack of refinement. Okay. Let's see. Pile number 1. What does pile number 1's person misunderstand about them? Okay, I can't tell which of the energy. I'm actually getting that this person is kind of like this childlike frequency, and they don't understand that about themselves. Okay, that's what I'm kind of getting. So this misunderstanding breeds misunderstanding is what I'm getting. So I feel like the person that we're dialed in here, that's kind of the start of the ripple of confusion here. I feel like it starts with a misunderstanding nature about self, and I feel like it comes from this childhood space. And notice that, like, that to me looks like a child's arm, and it has something in its hand like that offering, but notice it's like surrounded in darkness. And so I feel like there was something in the childhood like energy time period that was shrouding this childlike frequency in darkness, where maybe this person was not allowed to be a child. They were not allowed to be lacking or small or neutral in their energy. Like, a child is kind of just doing whatever feels natural, and they are brought up in the ways of culture. And I'm not right, wrong, or indifferent. There's kind of not a way around that, being taught to navigate the culture that you're in. And so I feel like something here was like, I don't know, done in regards to that. And I feel like whoever this child was had to put on a face. They had to kind of paint their face of everything being okay or everything being happy. And I feel like this was kind of indoctrinated in them. And I think that whatever has gone on here, and there's been some level of divine intervention, and there's been some level of justice energy in order to interrupt this functioning dysfunction, because it's not actually, this being a functioning dysfunction is a neutral energy. It just is a functioning dysfunction. And a functioning dysfunction means that there's something gained by it. And I just heard from the ego. And this is from this person here, this like kind of childlike energy. This is inner child. So this, I think, is an adult that we're looking at, but there's parts of them that are operating from a place of fear and confusion, but it can't admit that it's operating from a place of fear and confusion and potentially like a lack of knowledge. I'm hearing, I don't know any other way to be. It can't operate because the survival mechanism that it used was to put on a face. To put on a face of everything is fine or everything is joyful. And the other thing that I'm kind of picking up about this childlike frequency, this is an adult that we're talking about, okay? But it's like this inner child is kind of run amok, but it's in an adult body, which is kind of worst case scenario in a society, I feel. And I feel like that's where a lot of like narcissism comes in, because it's like being trapped in a survival mode. And so it makes people incredibly selfish, because it makes them impulsive. They kind of just lash out in this survival mode, and then they feel justified in doing that because they always feel like on attack or something here like that, or that they would be attacked, or and I just feel like this is not fully understood in this person and or anyone else. And so because they have to put a face on it, instead of admitting where they feel stupid, is what I'm hearing. I feel stupid, I need help. They don't feel like they can show that, because they feel like if they show weakness that they're going to be blamed or that they're going to be attacked. I feel like this is kind of like what they grew up in, that they were basically expected to be 40 years old when they were 5 and when they were 7, or, you know, something here like that. And so because of that, it's like created this really, I'm hearing like an entrenched kind of monster energy within that never sees the light of day. It doesn't receive sunlight. It doesn't receive air. And so it just kind of like grows and grows and grows. And because of that, they actually do need help, but also because of that, they're offering energy, the things that they would like to offer to another person when they feel connected to another person, or when they feel like they want to connect with another person. It comes from a corrupted place. It comes from a weirdly innocent but corrupted place at the same time. And because they don't, the innocence is that they don't know any better and that they're not trying to be malicious, but they feel, I feel they feel overly sensitive potentially to, there's a second chakra issue. And because of that, it's like something here cannot grow. Their confidence cannot grow. And so I think they've been doing this in a routine way. And something here, like, I don't want to show, this is a deck that I really love, but I don't think that I can show this, but it's like a zombie that has like an axe like in their mind. And I feel like somebody here like kind of, I don't know, illuminated what was actually going on. And then this person was kind of like, you know, like, is this like what I'm doing? And it's overwhelming, I think. Yeah, and they illuminated this Knight of Wands energy. And this is Hanuman, isn't it? Yeah, Hanuman. So it has actually initiated some kind of spiritual journey, but it illuminated this Knight of Wands energy that it is impulsive. It is somewhat aggressive. It is because they go on the offense because they feel so weak that like internally they feel like they can't defend themselves from the outside world, because when they were small, obviously, like I feel adults really misuse their authority and they misunderstood the purpose of childhood, which is to raise up a being from being incapable and incompetent to being competent. And so they have to be given more and more chances. They have to be given more and more responsibility. They have to grow in that while they're still under your roof, or under, in order to practice and in order to be corrected. But this is very much like infantilizing children all the way up through when they're 18, when they're 25. Like they grew up in this kind of like, it became a hierarchical system is what I'm getting. Yeah, that's like a big thing here. Something here was like a hierarchical system, and it was about control. So this person's worldview is very hierarchical, and they're always fighting to be at the top of the hierarchy. And a lot of that has to do with appearances is what I'm getting. So this person constantly feels vulnerable, but they don't feel like they can admit being vulnerable. And there may also be some kind of like something funny, and it's deflection. And everything is deflection here because they're trying to deflect. I'm literally seeing like somebody with ping pong paddles, and they're just like deflecting things, like always like from hitting them, because it's so sensitive and it's so like rocking and overwhelming. And this person feels like they've kind of been on an island emotionally and otherwise, like especially in the social aspects of life is what I'm getting. The social aspects, the emotional aspects, managing their own emotions, the feminine sides of life, being creative. It's all like blocked off here from that space. And so what I've learned in my life, because I've worked with kids a lot, is that a lot of times kids can cause an immense amount of damage. Like if you've ever seen like a true temper tantrum, or if you've ever seen like, and it's because they're confused, they're small, and they have these emotions that they haven't yet learned how to like manage. And so a lot of times they can cause a lot of damage, not necessarily because they mean to, but because they haven't gotten that, like garnered that. And I'm hearing that quote that says, never attribute to malice what can be explained by ignorance. And I feel like there's a lot of ignorance in this person's space, but there's a dedication to that ignorance because it's painful and it's hard for this person to really look at themselves. So this is a person, I just want to ground this back to what I was getting originally. This person misunderstands you. And I think in some cases they willfully misunderstand you in order to prop up and to preserve a false worldview. But within that false worldview, they know how everything operates. And that's the attachment to that. And I just heard I feel like there's something here where it's like, I feel like you're being enlightened about this because it talking to this person, it's almost like you have to become the child whisperer, almost acting not in a condescending way, but like you're speaking to this person's inner children is what I'm getting. But I'm seeing also there was this, I always think of this, there was this art installation a while ago at Burning Man. I can't remember what year it was and what the theme was, but it was these mesh adults, and they were like folded and their backs were together, and they were like dejected and like both sad. And then inside of them, they had these little children that were trying to touch each other, like through the thing. Like that's this person. It's like they want love, they want connection, they want to be able to make amends, they want to apologize. But I feel like this person keeps fucking it up, and they keep fucking it up because they cannot come to you in their humility. They cannot come to you in their smallness. They cannot come to you in their vulnerability and say, I will mess this up because I'm actually stunted. I'm hearing that. I'm stunted emotionally and socially. Won't you help me? I recognize that you are not. Won't you guide the way? It's like this person cannot do that because they feel threatened. And this is family stuff, and this is childhood stuff. And so it furthers and it breeds, I just heard contempt. They're flickering words in my mind, contempt and contentment. Or there's a mixing of these energies. This is very othering energy. This is very like, my team is, we wear orange and we, I don't know, run the streets on Tuesdays. It's cultural, it's like this, there's a cultural around this cultural identity in lieu of self-identity. And so they don't feel like they can disagree with the people that are around them and still actually be accepted. They don't think that disagreements are just a part of, like, if you have healthy social skills and if you can understand where somebody's coming from and if you are able to trust in the goodness of another person. And what's ironic is I feel like this person undermines that within themselves. They have acted in a way that makes it to where you cannot trust in their underlying goodness towards you, that their underlying positive intent. And it's because of a defensive reaction that they started. But it feels like whatever this defensive action was, it was on the offense. It feels like they went on the offense in order to have a defense here, but they can't admit that to themselves because to them it's defense. To them, you are asking for it. And I feel like you are asking for it because you are an adult where this person is small. And so they viewed it as threatening because you're so much bigger than them in that aspect. And that might be weird to you because I think you're not bigger than this person in some kind of tangible physical aspect where it's actually like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, because I worked with like very violent kids at one point, and I worked like in this 9 to 11-year-old room, and I'm a small person, and a lot of these kids are bigger than me. Like they were bigger than me, and I remember my family dynamics were not exactly great, but nobody had ever physically like hit me before or anything. And I remember like the first time we weren't supposed to have any ceramics in the room at all, but they had done a ceramic project, and one kid was like just working on their schoolwork, grabbed the ceramics and just threw it across the room at the chalkboard out of freaking nowhere. It scared the shit out of me. And I had just like I'd never witnessed anything like that. I still remember the first time I got punched in the face, and all of that was by a child, you know, where technically I'm grown. Technically I should be the authority. I should be trusted, but I have to work to build trust with this kid that I don't know yet very well. And they've already been through stuff, and how are they supposed to trust me because they don't really know me, and it's going to take time, you know? And so I was just kind of sitting in that soup for a while where it just felt like this is an impossible situation. And I'm feeling that here where it's like there's something on the physical where it's like this person I also feel like this person tries to like worm or wiggle themselves into a position of power because that's the only place that they feel safe. It's not because they're skilled at leadership. They're definitely not. Somebody like this should not be in a position of leadership whatsoever. Somebody who has demonstrated that they're unwilling or unable to be self-disciplined. And what self-discipline means is I'm able to restrict myself for the higher good, which that's not a single step, right? That means I know what the higher good is. It means that I know I can be patient and I can make my point and I can do it in a civilized way. And all of that takes an immense amount of skill and a self-restraint. But I feel in this situation, you were dealing with somebody that refused to self-restrain themselves in some way. And it's because they felt they were being attacked. And they don't have the skills to find out whether or not that was actually true. Their mind just goes, I just saw their mind like just white out. And then they just went into this kind of like child mode. Now, I'm just saying this because when we start getting into trying to understand people, I'm not excusing this behavior. This is wrong. And we should be able to hold people accountable as adults for their behavior. If our society is healthy, if we are able to raise people to be, to function well in our cultures and in our societies, which clearly like we have not been able to do. For somebody like this to feel this kind of way. So there is kind of a dance, like, yes, there's an individual responsibility, but yes, there's also a social responsibility. And where does that line kind of go? This person is a product of their culture, is what I'm hearing. And culture is a weird word because you have cultures on the level of world, you have cultures on the level of nation state, you have cultures on a level of that small group of 3 or 4 people that sit together at lunch every day in the school cafeteria. Culture is layered, and it's like kind of mixed and matched. So I think even to try and troubleshoot where the issue is, like at what cultural level is the issue, I'm strongly feeling it's family. But this family plugs into other cultures, like other groups, other like something here like that. And so I feel like that's what has impacted this person. And to try and wake up in the middle of that, when that's all you've known, it's kind of the same thing as like a fish swimming around in water and you're trying to explain water to the fish. Like, do you know that you've been steeped in this culture? And they're like, what do you mean? Like, what is life without water? How you say that there's some place that exists up there that doesn't have water everywhere, and I've never seen it, so I don't believe you. You know, it's kind of like that. It's like something that's just like all pervasive here. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. I didn't even see this. Some Ginger Chick Tarot, thank you so much. Nor, thank you so much. Apparently no piles for me tonight. Still a little something for the coffee or the taco pot. Thank you. The Bayou, thank you so much. Gang's all here. Tasha Blonde Diablo, thank you so much. Just got here, but I already know you'll be dropping nuggets. Can't wait. Yeah. So, and this is tough. Like, this is basically tough because it's also like, raise your hand if you're struggling just like on a day-to-day basis, like let alone to try and play a part of somebody else's like, you know, awakening. Like it should not kind of like be on you. And it's especially hard when all of us live, you know, in a system that we have to work so much just to like meet our basic needs. So there's some kind of like social cooperation karmas that are playing out. And it does feel like there's an intersection here about like the individual and where the individual is actually weak. Because all of us we have our strengths and we have our weaknesses. And it's nice when we leverage our strength. This has kind of gone awry in this person, I feel. The strengths and the weaknesses in this person, because they've tried to levy their strengths, but I feel like their strength is maybe facade, possibly even humor. But I feel like this person's kind of sad, or they feel dead on the inside and that's weird because I feel like we associate humor with personality, like having like a sparkling, glowing personality, but this is not coming from that place. It's not that they don't have that capability. It's just, it is coming from a defensive place. So there could also be a misunderstanding about the humor that's coming, and possibly that's like reflected here, because this has to do with like the dance. This person doesn't understand how the dance builds and escalates on itself depending on how they relate to themselves. And I feel like this person has been taught by some kind of cultural dynamic, which I think is family, that they that's not the case, that they are not the cause. So that's self disempowerment. They have learned that like they are not the cause of like the way that they treat people, and then like how they can expect somebody to treat them back. Because I do think there's like, this sounds so crazy to me, but it's almost cute, like coming off of this person. I can tell this person has caused immense dramas and is very destructive, but it's almost innocent in its way that it doesn't understand that like, I just treated you like shit, and of course you're going to treat me like shit. Of course you don't appreciate that. And if I'm not demonstrating my willingness to understand you or like to be cooperative with you, of course you're going to bristle, and of course you're going to like push back, on that. And I'm also hearing there's a quote that says, if you do not make a way for peaceful protest, then you make violent protest inevitable. But I'm seeing this play out on a social level. I'm seeing this play out on an individual level, where it's like, if I cannot peacefully protest. Okay, so another thing is like gossip and secret groups here with this one, because it's like, if you're going to gossip about me behind my back and you're not going to allow me to peacefully contradict whatever nonsense that you have declared about me or my friends or my kind of people or whatever it is that you're talking about, if you're not going to allow me to peacefully say, I agree, I disagree, yes, you've picked up on this certain thing, but here's the place that it actually comes from. If you're not going to give me that opportunity, it's going to become violent, because the truth will prevail. There's a clinging to not truth, and there's I just heard weaponized incompetence, but there's a truth here, but there's also, you can say that you're loyal to the truth all you want, but the people who are really loyal to the truth are people that are loyal to systems that uphold the truth, adjudication systems. This means having healthy social skills. So this means I don't want to win over finding out what the truth is about you, because if we can work something out, I'm 100% down for that. The problem comes with trust, and I do feel like there's some kind of like trust issue here, because I don't think this person was around safe adults in an emotional space, and I kind of think you see that actually. Yeah. So I think there's an extreme injustice that goes on around this person. And it comes from, I just heard the word toddler. It comes from like, this person is toddling around in terms of like Libran dynamics, because they're trying to appease the social set in this hierarchical way. So I think they're trying to prove their dominance or their superiority, and people don't tend to like that because the truth should be what reigns superior. And I'm hearing that there's an Abraham Lincoln quote that I like very much. And it's like, I must walk with a person when they are going the right way, and I must part with them when they are not going the right way, which really goes to the heart of loyalty. Where's your loyalty? To the truth. If your loyalty is to the truth, your loyalty will be to systems. And that is to social systems. That is to a way, a process that is pure, that I'm, kind of like the discovery process, where it's like, evidence has to meet a certain amount of criteria, because you can't bullshit it. There are certain things that you can compromise, and that has to be understood. And so you put that forth, and you get all the evidence in there, and you hear from this side and you hear from that side, and you try to get to the truth. That's actually the roots of debate as well, which don't make me laugh, right? Like, there used to be stringent rules for debate. Right? There's no ad hominem attacks. There's no straw man attacks, like just to win, just as like this showboaty showmanship, because the allegiance, it used to be, yes, we're coming from these two different sides, but we're both loyal to the truth. So I damn well expect you to bring your A game, and I know you expect me to bring my A game, because if you don't argue well for your side, then the truth might not come out of this. So I hope that you bring the full fire of your A game, and I'm going to bring mine, because we're going to get to the truth of that. That's the benefit of doing the debate. It's not this weird my side versus your side like kind of thing that plays out on every level. It's not just like a nation level or within bureaucracy, you know, like it's politicking. Like it's this person operates on politicking, and they feel that getting to the truth is choosing a side and not being able to tell the pros and cons of everything. This also strikes me as a person who is like halfway there. They're like, there's corruption, there's this, and they're like, it's in this one group, and it's like, so close, are you so close? It's not in this one group. Like the human existence is to deal with corruption, but you have to clear up your own corruption, you know, and you have to, once you know how hard that can be, it leads to compassion, you know. But the thing is, you cannot have compassion. You have to have compassion. We also have to say, and we're also going to hold you accountable. Okay. So I'm going to need to see your dedication to this. There are absolutely standards that need to be met. I have compassion for you, but you're going to show your willingness to be cooperative and to be accountable to the group, or you just can't be trusted. These are basic social dynamics that this person doesn't understand for whatever reason. And it could be that this person has some, I'm not really getting that though, actually, with this group. I don't think that this is a person who is, who has a neurospicy, as we like to say, kind of makeup or dynamic, like autism or something like that kind of makes them socially awkward. It could be, but those people tend to know that they are coming from a place of seeing the world differently. And they typically, by the time they reach adulthood, they do have that understanding, and they have certain ways of kind of dealing with that, overcoming that. And again, their loyalty is to their own process to try to like get to the truth. Like, I'm not really getting that so much. I'm getting, this is a person who was taught some kind of politicking and jockeying in lieu of proper social etiquette. And so you don't see the loyalty and that just to the proper social etiquette. And I also just heard the proper channels. You don't see that loyalty, because this person would have to admit that they're wrong in order to adhere to those loyalties and to allow themselves to be pinned. This is another thing that I'm getting. It's like that they don't understand, and that you don't understand about them, the dance of cooperation. We all have to be willing to be pinned by our peers and by the truth, and by like a cooperative push in order for things to work out okay. You should expect to be pinned at some point in your life. If you're not, you might have a touch of the narc, you know, narc, who's there? All your fucking demons in the closet that you're trying to stuff down on, you know? So I just feel like this person is unwilling to be pinned, and they feel victimized by that because they're constantly jockeying for hierarchy because they're used to people kind of tearing at them or going. And I'm kind of getting this might be a father. There's some kind of nitpicking that went on in this person's childhood, and it was not cooperative. It was under the guise of a kind of parenting. It was under the guise. This is very like, you know, eagles, bald eagles, in the nest. Like if there's more than one baby, like sometimes, no, I said sometimes because it makes me feel better. From what I understand, they'll like fight over the worm. And like, if you can't fight to get your worm, like you're just going to die. Like your mom isn't like, excuse me. Okay. He's a little bit runted right now, but like if he's allowed to eat stuff, like he is going to be a contributing member of our society. So why don't you back up? Like, you know, why don't you share, you little piglet? Like, you know, it's not that. It's like very ruthless. And I feel like that's the environment here. But there was something like that, and it masqueraded as a type of parenting, or as a type of like, I'm just looking out for you. This is a dog eat dog world. It's the way that it kind of has to be. And yes, there are certain elements where it's like, you have to defend yourself. But that's also what they don't understand about you. They're not able to like pull back and say like, I've clearly put you in a position where now you feel like you have to defend yourself. And when we both see that clearly about each other, that actually we're both very human, and we're coming from this very human place, and because we both have the same human needs, you know? Not even human needs, like you're in a flesh prison, just like a squirrel is, you know? So like you're gonna have the similar needs, but it's all kind of like over top each other, and it's just so confusing. And this person requires social skills if they're going to participate in that. But in lieu of, they are just taught this like eagle, I'm going to fight for my worm or else, you know. They've never had somebody like truly look out for them, and they don't know the benefit of it. They really don't know the benefit of it. Because this person is just like kind of always bristled for the attack. I hope this is like, yeah, so they don't know what their options are. That goes around it. And I feel like this person is constantly strategizing, and they're doing that like behind the scenes. The Lightheart Alchemist, thank you so much for the super chat. It's okay to be wrong. Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. It's like, it's okay to be wrong. And when you can admit that you're wrong, all of us are right. Like, you see what I'm saying? All of us are better off, I guess I should say. That's very right. That's a form of being incredibly right, to just admit that you're wrong. It's right-hearted, it's right-centered, it's right-charactered, it's right-principled, to like be right. And if enough of us can turn our little lights on, this little light of mine, but it's, I don't know, sad, scary, and dangerous a lot of times to be that person who reaches your hand out first, Also, that word handout really stuck out to me. This person misunderstands a handout energy because they have been taught that individualism is a thing, and it's just not. Nobody is ever self-made. You would have died at 2 years old. Nobody is ever self-made. They don't understand that. They can't process that. So there's an immense amount of denial here. This is also, I'm going to say something kind of political here, okay? But this is also a person who has a view of the nanny state, because they don't understand that government is in lieu of having a monarchy. Government is representation of the people. And so we pay our taxes, and that shit is my money. Okay. So I deserve to have a say. No taxation without representation. I deserve to have my say in how that money is spent. This person would view that as a handout. Oh, you got a handout. I got a handout. I fucking paid into that. Everyone, this person doesn't have a realistic perspective of life either. That is cyclical. This person has a linear view of life. So this person in a weird way has bought into some kind of like progressive. This is on every single level. So this is collective level. This is individual level. That life is a straight line and it just goes up and up and up and up. And that if you're a healthy person and that you're doing well for yourself, you're just going to go this way. They don't see that it's a circle. It's always a circle. So you're going to go through times of feast and you're going to go through times of famine. And that's why it's best that we can hold some hands and we can pull you up, and you don't have to suck when you fall down. And that doesn't mean that you fucking suck. It just means you're a human. It's that cooperative kind of thing. And that's not to say that there's not people that need to be like kind of checked in that way. But again, the group's the best way to kind of do that. So this person they don't allow themselves to be able to say like, sometimes I falter. And it's nice. This person, I just really truly think this person has never had the experience of like tripping and falling and like literally having the person next to them just be like, I got you. Come on. Because everything we've achieved as human beings is social. You did not have to invent penicillin. You did not have to reinvent the wheel. And it's because we get these things and we help each other. Human beings are dominant at the top of the food chain because of that and that alone. And hands, because we have hands. That's a huge advantage. Hands, butts, and brains. This person can't trust that. They can't trust the social ability of people because they've just never been around it. But it's been all around them, but it gets weirdly muffled and morphed into a weird individual stance, as to like every victory I have. This is also a person, it's like every victory I have, it's an individual. It's because of me. Instead of like this complicated equation of like, but I did drive to the university that I went to on roads that person helped to build. Like they just, the cooperative efforts of everybody around them just fade to the background for this person, I feel very strongly. And it's because of some kind of worldview that they were indoctrinated into, and they believe it because of a weakness that they feel in themselves, where I feel like this person kind of can't give people credit. Or they expect, it's like, yeah, but that's just expected of you. It's something here like that. So this person has a warped worldview because they're stunted, and the stunting comes in because this person can't see. If they were to see beyond the limit of whatever they've built for themselves that they feel safe in, because remember I said that at the beginning, this person has structured their worldview and it's like they know how that worldview operates. And so they feel safe there. This is kind of like the devil that you know is better than the devil that you don't know kind of thing. They're scared because of what? It's always death, isn't it? They're scared of death. And the kind of death that this person is afraid of is ego death. They're scared because their identity, ego is always your identity. It says, you always want to catch this in yourself. This is part of the spiritual path. I'm a this and I'm a that and I'm a that. Okay. And I feel like this person definitely has that. And that is in lieu of having a genuine identity. Because your genuine identity, just like Abraham Lincoln said, I must go with them when they walk right and I must separate with them when they walk wrong. It's an alive process. Well, this person doesn't have this like kind of alive, always vibrating kind of process. And that's not the same as being like wishy-washy, but it's also not the same thing as being rigid. And I feel like that's what this person does is they identify with certain things. I'm strongly hearing I don't want to say it because I don't want this reading to like go off the rails or anything. But this person, and they misunderstand the nuance even of those like identity, the identities that they have, because they don't parse apart the nuance. This person's easily misled in their mind because of that. So I want to say this, but let me try to think of a different one that wouldn't be like so inflammatory. It's like this person, they'll say something like in their, like they'll choose an identity, right? And it's like, well, I'm a teacher. Let's say that. Like, I'm a teacher. I'm somebody who teaches. The teacher is always the first student. So that student function is a part of actually being a teacher. But they don't know that by saying that they're actually also a student, but they are distinguishing themselves as a teacher against like somebody being a student, where it's like you cannot be one without being the other. And this person, that's what I'm saying, like even the identities that they choose themselves, like they misunderstand the depth of it. They misunderstand what it's actually connected to. So they stand behind, they say, I'm a this, like I'm a teacher, or I'm a this, or I'm a that, or I'm a that. And it's like very firm. And there's no movement. And then they sit behind, I'm seeing like they sit behind the wall of it, you know, like, I don't know, like old European cities where they would build a wall around like the city and then they would close it up at night. It's like that. This person would like just sits behind the wall of like what they've created for themselves. And actually, because it's multiple identities, we all belong to multiple identities. So I'm seeing like many of these like little walled citadel kind of things, and they don't even touch each other. So I feel like this person is a hypocrite and doesn't even catch it. They can't catch it because they don't allow it to merge. Because their identity of being a teacher is different than their identity of being I just heard patriot, you know? And it's like, what if those two things touched, and what does that actually mean? You know, and if you understood the nuances of being a teacher as like also being a student, like, and if you understand, it's like, how do those two things like overlap? And it gives you a very nuanced perspective that's not so abrasive, and it's not so like jockeying. But I feel like this person can't handle that, is what I just heard. Some ginger chick, thank you again. Preach, Jess, time for change no matter how hard you're in the world. Yeah, they put themselves in a box. That's essentially what I'm trying to say, is they and so as much as this person wants to, I'm seeing this like carving up kind of thing. They want to carve up the world, and they want to say like, you're a part of this group and I'm a part of this group, so therefore our needs are not the same. Your needs are the same. Call up Maslow. Ask Maslow what the human needs are. They're the same. You might come from a different place, but it's because of this enemy stance where it's like, why don't we work together? If you have the same needs, certainly we can make this like cooperative and more efficient. I'm not saying it's going to be a freaking walk-in rainbow Care Bear land, but I'm saying like, perhaps it's worth not carving up the world. I'm literally seeing this person like carving up the world as a means to understand it, which you can understand, but you should never stop there. It's very elementary, actually. Because I'm hearing that Carl Jung quote that says there can be no knowledge without the discernment of opposites. So you do have to kind of understand where you're different from somebody or something else, but you should never stop there, because you always have more similarities than differences, you know? And so like, yeah, understand where the differences are, because then you can identify the hurdles that you're going to have to come through. But I'm very cooperative. You just heard it. If you understand the differences, you see immediately, when you understand the differences, you can understand where the problem spots are going to be. So you can speak tenderly to that, and you can try to say, okay, well, I understand that you have this difference and to me. So how can we do this with as much grace and tenderness and respect as possible, instead of, and I'm about to fight you for that, let's tug of war this bitch. Like, you know, I don't want a rug burn on my hands. Okay. So, you know, it's kind of like that. We want the example you didn't say. Okay. I'll just say it. I've been thinking about this a lot. The difference between being in America, because America is an empire, and I just strongly disagree with empire no matter who does it. So I think there's not enough talk in America about the nuances between being a patriot and believing in like American exceptionalism. I think it's actually abhorrent and disgusting to like not check your in-group. And I mean that on every level of life. Like the in-groups that you're a part of, to be like, actually, maybe we should like reconsider the way that we're like doing this. Like that's kind of what I mean. That's saying like the difference, because I see a lot of people that are like, but I'm a patriot, and it's like, but they just co-sign everything that the government does, because to them that's their definition of what a patriot is, which to me that doesn't make any sense. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, and these are weird times because everything is so political, and politics goes directly to like the heart of life. It goes to like the heart of our worldview and the way that we try to structure ourselves. And I'm really trying to stay away from it, because I do believe that there should be spaces where we don't talk about that, especially when it's just like all around us all the time. And I'm really trying like to adhere to that because I do believe in like the humanity of things, and it's just, I don't know what to do. But anyways, yeah. So, okay. I think that I said that okay. Okay. So, you see what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to like understand, but you also want that same energy returned to you. So by you, thank you. You're welcome. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, that's what I'm getting. There's a lot that this person doesn't misunderstand, but I think about you. But the heart of the message is that what this person misunderstands about you, it starts and ends. Well, it doesn't end. Let me rephrase that. It starts with a misunderstanding of themselves, because this is a person who actually is not very kind to themselves. They're actually not very like self-empathetic. They're not very self-forgiving. I feel there's very black and white worldview, but this is very much like even if they do something wrong, they're like, oh, I fucked up. But this is not a person. They will. It's kind of like, oh, well, I fucked up, but then they just like something shuts off in them. Instead of going through the process of forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and like grieving, and which would walk them back out into the light, because then they would be able, that's the way you connect with all of humanity, you know, because once you understand your internal processes, you understand other people's internal processes better, and all the gunk that we all have to kind of cut through at all times to just like reach out to another person. Reach out and touch somebody's hand, make this world a better place, because we can, you know, so this person ends up creating opposition. This person ends up creating enemies, where I'm hearing, why have enemies when you can have friends? But it's coming up through that empathetic, that compassionate experience of, I understand myself, and so therefore I'm trying to understand you better, and like your internal process and what you must be going through to reach me. And you can see the effort that way too. When somebody is, you can understand the effort of somebody actually trying to meet you halfway, even if they're unable to do it and they're like, yeah, I'm not giving it. I am trying to be cooperative, but I'm not giving in because you haven't convinced me. You seriously haven't convinced me. But you can still see that that's a person trying. You know, they're trying to understand your worldview. They just might disagree with you. And that's a much, like, see the nuances. That's a much different person than, you know, and there's something here about that where it's like, this person, I think, stuffs people who disagree with them in the same category for the same reason, and it's all enemy. And they kind of like respond to it as that, instead of being able to say, well, like, you disagree with me, but you are actually trying to understand me. And you like, you know, instead of those kinds of things, to really see who and what is in front of you, because this person has not been able to really trust and see themselves. And I kind of think this person's vulnerable to getting strung along by a certain worldview. And I don't know what that is. And it might be different for every one of these people, but they're disposed to a certain kind of hatred. I just heard a certain kind of hatred that they don't recognize as hatred. They recognize it as culture. They recognize it as self-identity. They recognize it as me versus you. And if I'm cooperative with you, then I am erased, because just sharing the space with you means that I am erased, and you are bad for that, you know. And I'm not saying that like a couple people are bad over there, but a couple people in your camp are bad too, and that's the conversation I want to hear, bitch. That's the conversation I want to hear, you know, because it's a human thing. But this person will try to shove somebody in a jersey and be like, that jersey sucks. It, you know, it's and I think a lot of us in this group have understood that, because we can come from places where we don't feel exactly seen or heard by the places that we grew up in. So we have gone through the work of building family elsewhere, people who look different than us, and you have had at least one experience of knowing that this person who looks different than you and who comes from an entirely different place is more like you than the people that were around you your whole life. I just got goosebumps. You've had that experience. I know that. This person maybe hasn't. And I also think this person can really resent being shoved into a category, but they do it to other people. So, Catherine, thank you so much for the super chat. Crib, yeah. So, and my appearance and status was a threat. Yeah. And I do think threat is a key word here as well, because it is that ego identity. Ego always feels threatened. Ego responds to threat. Ego is the hyper-vigilant part of us that is always kind of, it scans everything through the lens of threat instead of through the lens of like trying to understand. I just heard there's a depth growing in this person though. There's a depth growing in this person that potentially they also misunderstand, because I think they do treat it as enemy, because this is a kind of person that views knowledge as a threat of annihilation, of ego annihilation. And it will do that, because it'll erase like the weird little borders that they and their culture and their mind have drawn. It will do that. I just heard they're going to start expecting that people are treated kindly and with respect, regardless of any kind of differences. This is going to be a person who, at the very least, needs to learn to hold that basic line of we can disagree, but also like nobody should be treated like shit. Yeah. Humanity, like just like being able to honor like the base humanity, like in somebody. So, oh my gosh, I just felt tears. Okay, like this person is crying. There is a depth. There's a huge emotional depth in this person, and I think that's what they're afraid of. I just literally saw a well that was like so deep, and like something here. Okay, I just saw like somebody putting boards and stuff over it, many boards, like some kind of foundation that this person wanted to stand. This person's afraid of their depth of emotion. Okay, and this is the last thing I'll say before we move on to group 2. I'm hearing in my mind from I just heard meta. I'm hearing in my mind from Eat, Pray, Love, when Richard, who is this man that Elizabeth Gilbert meets at the ashram that she went to in India. And he says to her, and he says, groceries, because he always called her groceries, I think that you have the capacity to one day love the whole world. And actually, I think that's what this person's afraid of in themselves. This is, weirdly enough, this person that you are asking about, they actually do have the capacity to love the whole world that is at odds with their ego identity. And I actually think that this is this person's mission in this life. I just saw Mercury, because Mercury is the bridge. Mercury is a translator, not necessarily of other languages, but it's a translator of this is their perspective. So I need you to understand that. You get that? This person can actually translate somebody else's perspective to these other people. Oh, that's not so scary, actually. That's what this person is meant to do, is meant to be that try to hear where someone else is coming from and where they might disagree or how they can approach the diplomatic process. That's what this person is meant to do. That's their highest and greatest calling. But they have to get in touch with that emotional depth. And that's actually what scares this person, is how much they actually care about other people that are different than them. And how much they actually, this is one of our people, to be honest. This is one of our people. This is somebody who is just maybe yet to go through some of the experiences that a lot of us have gone through, where again, they recognize that like, I'm actually, they understand me more. They actually care about my emotions, or like something that this other group, this other culture like has to offer me. Like, it's going to help them. It can help them. Or they have to see themselves in the experience of another person, like how they felt internally in their own family, in the experience of like some kind of other person that I feel like is very loud and like very lived like out loud. But that's exactly the way that this person was like treated in their family. It's quieter, and it's not because of a collective thing. It's because of an individual thing. This person could be like the black sheep or something. Where actually, I just heard this is the person that group would turn on as soon if this group managed to assimilate everybody into their little thing. This person that we're asking about, they'd be the first one this group turns on, because this group always has to have another. They always have to have somebody to point the finger at, and this person doesn't understand that yet. That they're kind of colluding with their own enemy here. So, but I would just want to remind you, this person, there's a depth growing in this person. Misunderstanding. I'm literally seeing this person cry. This person has the capacity to be awakened and to awaken others is what I'm getting, but specific others, like in a group that they understand in and out. They understand why this group has the perspectives that they do, so they can speak to that. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to wake up and they're supposed to say, no, you're misunderstanding. They're not coming at you. They're trying to get this and they're trying to get that. But this person has to have that perspective that they need to understand deeply into another person before they open their mouth, is what I'm getting. So this person may actually, okay, I just heard they rival. This person may be like a debater or something, but it's because they're trying to fit in, and it's a people-pleasing thing. I just heard ew. I feel like this person doesn't like that. They don't want to be a people pleaser, but that's actually what it is. It's not virtue signaling, but it's more like social signaling. Like, I'm one of you, right? Like, I'm one of you guys. But I feel like you can tell, like, looking at this person, that they're not exactly one of these other people. They're kind of the bait dog energy a bit, where it's like, I just heard, for some of these people, I just heard useful idiot, where it's like, they're useful now, but maybe they won't always be, kind of thing. So anyways, I'm going to leave that there. This person does have an immense capacity for love. They actually do. So if that's the reason why you're asking about this person, they have an immense capacity for love, and they have an immense capacity for understanding, because that's the part of the equation that they're missing. I think this person very well could be very cerebral, but without the love energy, they don't point their cerebral capabilities in the direction that it needs to be pointed in, which is mostly at themselves and the people that they demonize, is what I'm hearing. And this is the kind of mentality that doesn't mind demonizing other people in huge groups. They won't say, okay, this is another thing where I have this kind of perspective where I feel like There's people that are like, there's not people, but there's like a mindset that is like PREDATORY. And that kind of mindset, it's the wolf in sheep's clothing. Why? Because it'll wear whatever clothing it needs. This is a person who obsesses about the clothing. And it'll, like, whoever the scapegoat is, which we just talked about, will be different during different times of history. It's whoever is able to do that. And so they focus on whatever clothing. They focus instead of the behavior that can come up through anything and will. It's a wily energy. It's adaptable, like a virus. Instead, they obsess about one particular group. This person doesn't understand that it's something like deeper than that will literally wear whatever clothes it can and that depends on fashion. That depends on the vulnerable group at the time. Like, this person does not understand something deeper. It's like, oh, you're so close. Like, and you might feel that with this person, that it's so frustrating because they're so close to understanding what you feel like you need them to understand about you or about somebody else in order for you to feel safe around them. This person doesn't understand that they truly do make other people feel unsafe, and that other people genuinely are unsafe, because this way of thinking can actually cause an immense amount of danger. I just heard this is an unserious person who is a serious threat. Who can be a serious threat. They don't understand that about themselves either. And it goes back to that self-discipline. This person has not done the main part of the social contract. I just saw somebody tip their hat like this, which is just demonstrating that you are willing and able to hold yourself accountable and to restrict yourself when cooperation requires it, even if you do disagree, because other people are doing that. This person also kind of doesn't recognize that other people have their opinions or something, but there's an immense amount of like maturity or like self-restraint. This person can't see that. I just heard they kind of get whipped up into a frenzy. So anyways, that's pile one. There has been some kind of justice movement here and like some kind of faded energy, and it has interrupted this, and it's fixated this person. I do think there's a teacher, and it could be far away with Aquarius. It's a star energy. This could also be the kind of person that they want to be, and they don't understand. This is the kind of person that doesn't understand why they're not seen in that light, because this person's like, I'm a vigilante. I'm a hero. And this person's like, I don't understand why people don't see me as a hero. And it's like, pause. I'm gonna need you to pause. I'm gonna need you to pull back. I need you to really see yourself. And I feel like there's something here, like, I don't know, Aquarius is network. Aquarius is like on the internet. So they could see a mirror reflection of like how they want to be perceived in the world. I feel like this person could be very envious of like somebody here that Spirit's using to guide them. They are like the star in the sky. And this person is very much like, I'm just like that. And they're not. And they have to see why they're not, and why they have to admit that not everybody is crazy, and that people are having a reaction to them that they should really look at, and that they should take seriously. They should respect other people, is basically what it is. They should respect other people. There's some people that are not coming from the right place. I just heard never take criticism for somebody that you would never take advice from. There are definitely people where it's like, I'm not folding in your criticism because it doesn't meet a high enough bar for me to do that. Like, you see what I'm saying? But this person just kind of, I don't know. They misunderstand that there's something here that was actually very divinely implemented, and it's to push this person towards their potential, because this person has an immense potential, and I think this person's going to level up fast. It's like once they see it and once they get it, this person's going to actually sprint up, and I think they're going to be a leader. I think they're going to be a social leader, and then this bridge, it's like a social bridge where it's like, no, I used to be just like you, and here's what you're not understanding, is that not everybody who disagrees with you is just doing it because they're a moron. Or they're misunderstood, like, or something like that. So anyways, so I'm getting 14-year-old rebellion isn't cutting it. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Free Queen just said, yes, I don't remember asking you for your advice, so excuse me if I don't allow your criticism into my heart space. That's another thing this person doesn't understand is consent. Because, like, I don't know, it feels like the way that they interact with you is they could potentially be ignoring your consent, where it's like, I didn't come to your diner for you to, I came for the eggs. I didn't come for, like, whatever this person's doing. I don't know. But then they and so they willfully misunderstand. That's that willful ignorance. And it's like, you broke some kind of social contract here. That's my problem with you, is like that you're not respecting me. I can't even hear what you're saying because it's coming from such a corrupted place, and you don't know how obvious that is. That like, I didn't come here for that. I came here for the eggs. Like, something here like that. And I feel like when this person sees you as very powerful, I think, but they don't understand that it's because you're playing by the rules. Like this person came to your place for eggs and you gave them eggs. This person also could want your perspective on things. They could really push you into like giving your perspective, and they actually respect it and they learn so much from it. But then this person will like put their own weird personal spin on it. They'll try to wring it out they'll try to warp it. Because they're not loyal to the truth. And I've already said that. So anyways, that's what I'm getting. There's something here about consent that they are really missing. And it's the honorability of your actions. Like if this was a debate, this is a person who is going to be like pulling out ad hominem attacks. And they're like, what? You're just scared of me? You're just scared of me? And you're like, you are literally belligerent. And we don't have the same values, because to participate in a debate and to be functional in it, and if we're going to achieve the result that this process is designed to do, you have to show deference to the process and what it's trying, the adjudication process. You have to show that, and you don't show it. You don't respect this art form. So you shouldn't even be in this arena. Like that's kind of what this feels like. And they don't understand things like that. Like this person will show up in contexts and arenas that they disagree with. They are not suited for it. They disrespect all of the rules and regulations. And they're like, and I just don't understand why people don't like me. I mean, I win everything. And it's like, you dominate. And that's not the same as winning, because my version of winning is that you adhere to this process. Okay. There's a reason that you don't bite people's earlobes in a boxing match. It's considered unfair. It's because we're trying to see who's the most skillful boxer, and biting doesn't have to do anything to it. I don't want to see that you were incapable of completing the teething process. Nobody's interested in that. It's not skillful. It's not what we're testing for here. Anyways. All right. I'm not sure this is me ever, LOL. Look at that self-awareness. Like, this is what I'm saying is like, when someone's self-aware, it's like, this is the kind of thing where, they say like when doctors learn about medicine, they think that they have everything. It's like that hypochondriac, like every single thing that they learn about. A lot of med students like, oh, and I have that, and I have that, and I have that. Like on a spiritual level, when you're self-aware, it can be like, yeah, that's me. And that's, again, it does lend to empathy and compassion and just seeing yourself as one with like humanity. Okay, so that was pile number 1. It's a long pile. But there's a lot that person misunderstands. So. And they misunderstand almost everything about you, but it's because they are polluted in their own stance. I'm just so parched after that. Okay. The shoe thing. All right. Compassion. That person's definitely on a journey. The shade you just threw at him for the ear biting. Yo. Yes. All right. You guys hear the cats in the background getting their little treats. Okay, so I put these up for you. We just did pile number 1, which is the offering. We're moving on to pile number 2, which is the unseen. And then we're moving on to pile number 3 after that, just so that you know this is a place with order and structure. We go pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3, except for on random, weird full moon moments where sometimes I'll do pile 3 and then pile 1. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Wouldn't that be fun? No, we do go in order here. I like to keep everything orderly. I'm picking all of them. Oh. Self Omer says, Jess, it's like I don't want to miss even one word that comes out of your mouth. Oh my gosh. I'm sure there are a few of them you could stand to miss. I tend to be on my best behavior when I'm on the internet. All right. Hi, Jess. It's Missy Sue. Hello, hello. I love them all, though. By the way, happy lunar year of the snake, y'all. Year of the snake, y'all. Year of the snake. All right. Mud Chat, thank you so much for the $20. Thanks for being you. Oh, shucks. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. We've had a lot of super chats for pile number 1. All right, so we're moving to pile number 2, which is the unseen. So if you are ready to peek behind the veil with me, let us do that now. All right, pile number 2. What are we doing now? What do they misunderstand about you? See, I just get going and then it's hard to stop me. You just try to stop me. All right. Okay. Pile number 2. What do they misunderstand about you? Pile number 2. What do they misunderstand about you? Dang. Daily Glow just said picking to just tuning in. Perfect timing. Love it. All right. All right. This person could be spying on you. Okay, so what do they misunderstand about you? Okay, I get it. I feel like this person is spying on you, and they could actually be spying on you in the social media realms, which is a very modern thing people do. And so I feel like this person is maybe even trying to like pierce through your energy or figure out some way to like agitate you for some is what I heard, or to like make their move or to like kind of come in or whatever. But this person they misunderstand you because they're seeing you through pixels, with this unseen energy. Look at that, all that pixelatedness. They're seeing you through pixels, and they're seeing you through some kind of 2-dimensional lens. They don't have the depth of you. They don't have the holistic experience of you. So I feel like this person I just heard they've misunderstood you several times. I actually do think this is a person that's like, once they misunderstand you, they'll be like, wait a second. And then they'll kind of like fold back in and they'll be like, okay, well, obviously I was wrong about that or something. And then they'll like reformulate, oh, well, I bet it's because of this or because of that. And this person doesn't really see the depth of you. Like, that's really what it is. And I kind of feel that might be by design. This could be somebody that you don't want to get to know. This could be somebody you don't like have a relationship with like that. Like, I don't know if this person, I'm sure for some of you, they could be obsessed with you like at your workplace or something, but you don't want to be friends with this person. You know, it could be something like that. So they're like, they're just like really fixated with you or something. It feels like in a competitive way or something though. And so they've like looked you up on your socials and they're trying to understand you, or it almost feels like to hate you or to like try to manipulate you or dominate you or to be competitive in your field or near you or something here like that. Cause it feels to me like this person disagrees with you here in some way. This person like wants some kind of victory. I also feel like the divine is heavily involved in this. And I feel like the divine has been steady, like throwing off their manipulations. So this person also could not understand that, like something here about the divine, and they don't understand your decision here. Because, okay, so if you have had conversations with this person, I think it's very obvious to you that this person, it's like, who are you speaking to? Because they don't have your card, basically. It's like, you're like, who is that? Like whenever this person addresses you, or whenever they say something, you're like, that does not represent me. And the other thing too is like, with this Queen of Swords, I feel like you're very clever and you're very knowledgeable about the way that you respond to this person. They misunderstand that as well, because you'll notice when somebody flicks you in the face, when they intentionally get something wrong about you or they make some kind of accusation, it's to set you off balance and it's to kind of get you on the defense. And when you're on the defense and you feel like you have to explain yourself, then this person's information mining. And I actually feel like for a lot of you, you're that level of uninterested in this person, or you just see very clearly. I just heard this like little pissant tactics. So a pissant, I had to look this up recently because my dad used that word a lot. And I just thought of it as like a general insult because he would always just like say it under his breath. Like, I don't know, when he was watching something that upset him. And it means somebody who has an inflated sense of self-importance. And this person, I think maybe wants to have dominance over you actually. They I think, want to have more sway over you than they do. They want to have more sway over your emotions. They want to have more of an impact in your space. They want to have more of a connection in your life. Like they want to be a bigger player in your life than you have allowed them to be and then you want them to be. So this person doesn't understand your answers, that they're actually very cerebral. When you interact with this person, it's not coming from an emotional place. So I feel like this person will try to look at your Queen of Swords energy, which is just very maybe professional for some of you, because I am strongly getting a workplace scenario. This person doesn't understand that people have different hats that they wear and they'll be professional and they'll be social, and it has to do with like the arena that they're in sort of thing. Like this person doesn't understand that. But I think that you give these answers that are actually very Queen of Swords. Like you're okay giving the information that you give and nothing more. Or it's actually not very emotional. Even if you're being very firm, that's not actually it's not coming from an emotional place. It's just coming from a very matter of fact place. You're communicating correctly that this person is not welcome, you know, or something here like that. And this person doesn't understand that you're not giving them anything emotional, that they can't actually ascertain anything emotional. So they misunderstand what it is that they're seeing because they see through a pixelated world. They see through a pixelated lens. This person could be chronically online as well, where they need to like touch some grass or like they've forgotten that like people exist in meat space. They exist in like the 3D kind of realm. Like this person, just like kind of maybe misunderstands that. And they want to have a victory, but this person, kind of overlapping with pile number 1, is not honorable about that. They don't have a mature, well-rounded, holistic version of victory. I think this person is intimidated by you, and this is the kind of person that would love to put you in a no-win scenario, and they've done that in their own mind about you. Like this person would find a way to pervert, twist, and warp every single thing that you said to make you the enemy. This person would do that. And I think they are trying to do that in some kind of public arena. So whether that is online or whether that's like, again, I'm getting for a lot of you, this could be a person that you work with that's like trying to peep on your socials to try to get whatever information they can in order to flick you in the face, like kind of the dog whistle abuse, like at work, where this person, or like in some kind of public space that you do share, even if it's the PTA meeting that you go to, and this person will try to dog whistle abuse you, I think, as well, where they know that something's important, or they know that that you said something, but this is a person who will take what you said out of context, repackage it, put it out in the public sphere to try and make you feel like other people around you are making fun of you. But actually all of those people I just heard are sane. So like most of these people that this person tries to appeal to are sane. And if given the context and like what you truly meant, they would agree with you. But this person doesn't want to give them the opportunity for that to happen. This is a person who is a loser, because their version of winning is just to harm you. It's just to dominate over you. They want to start an argument with you here as well. And this person, you're showing up as the Queen of Swords. This person, okay, we got the 7 of Swords, we got the 5 of Swords. Oh wait, no, we got the Knight of Swords, the 5 of Swords, and the 7 of Swords. So there's a lot of swords energy coming in from this person. It's just not as mature as you. Like, so this person is coming in swords energy. They're trying to flick you in. This is reactive abuse is what this is that I'm trying to describe here. And so they don't understand. I think this person, like why they can't get to you. And I think it's because you literally give 0 fucks about this person. You see this for the adolescent level of behavior that it is. So you're not threatened by it. And I also think that if this person has managed to like humiliate you or publicly embarrass you, I think there's something where you look out at these kind of people and you already know that these other people are very sane. And that if you had a conversation, and maybe you did, or maybe you will have a conversation with those people, one-on-one in the future, you know that those people will like really hear you out. That I think you do know that those people did not participate in your abuse willingly. And that this person knew that if they tried to be this level of decrepit in front of those people, that none of them would have consented to that. They actually would have held they would have been like, that's really messed up of you. You know that in some way about a group of people. And so the things that you know about the lay of the land empowers you to not give a shit about this person and also to not take anything that they say seriously because it's not well thought. I think that you can easily poke holes in this person's arguments in your mind, but if you explained it out loud to this person, it would be you investing in them. And you don't even want to do that. So I think sometimes this person thinks that they've had a victory over you or something, but actually you've had the real victory here because you can see that they're wrong and you won't even take time to correct it. Like, because that would be a helpful thing. And that person would benefit from your energy that you do not wish to expand because they don't deserve it. This is a person who is not nice to you. And like I said, they will warp everything that you say. They will turn it into a weapon to use against you, but potentially also to use against other people as well. So you're just not investing in this person's space. And they are too stupid. Genuinely, there's an intellectual difference here. Genuinely. And I wouldn't say that, everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. Let me just say that this person is adolescent and they mistake that for a type of intellectual superiority. This person is like the living, breathing embodiment of the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is the less you know about something or a person or a topic, the more emboldened you are, the more you think you know about it. Whereas the more learned you get in a certain arena or a certain topic, the more you kind of understand, okay, well, it depends a lot on this variable. It's way more fluid. Because this could happen and affect it, that could happen and affect it. We could learn this in 10 years and it would throw everything off kind of a thing. But it's like you have a working theory. You're very much a person where it's like you have a working theory. You know what goes into your working theory. You're willing to be proven wrong, but you know what the pillars are of your working theory. So for somebody to prove your working theory wrong, they would have to address these pillars and you know what they are. And so this person will this is a person who's like throwing spaghetti to the wall. it's not at all effective. And they, again, I kind of think there could be some overlap with pile number one, where they don't, because it's mental energy, they think it's intelligence. It's not. It's actually very adolescent, and they're not the more superior force here. This person cannot recognize intellectual maturity. I wouldn't even necessarily say superiority, because you definitely would not say that, because anybody can be learned if they try, if they are patient with themselves in certain arenas. Maybe not the same capacities, but I think you have a genuine value of intelligence and intellect and knowledge and data. And so you are just very calm in this space. And it's kind of like having a conversation with a child, and that child would maybe throw certain things out, and you would maybe try to ask some questions or something to get them thinking about it, but you're not threatened by that child figuring out their world. But this person just has a lot of energy behind them because they feel emboldened. Like, this person feels very justified. They really want to see what's going on in your world. This person also could try and pretend to be smiley or try to pretend to be happy. So what they misunderstand about you is literally everything that they observe in you. This is somebody who takes a psychology degree program and doesn't understand the fundamentals of psychology overall, to put every single thing that they're learning in the context of what psychology is and what psychology is not. So they misapply a lot of they'll learn the specifics within the container, right? I studied psychology. This I'm sure applies to other fields as well. This is just the way that I can relate to it. Like, there's a container of psychology, and everything you learn applies to that field and that field only. And like, it applies in a certain way. And that's why you have to take intro to shit, and you have to take statistics, because you have to have those fundamental basic or you're going to misinterpret the specific things that you're learning. This person will learn specific things, and then they will misapply them because they can't zoom out. They don't see like the full context. And I think this is of you and your worldview. I truly think that you've given up hope on being understood by this person. You find them to be hopeless because there's kind of overlap here with pile number one, because they don't check themselves. That's also the difference in your intellect, is that you have spent the majority of your time checking your own worldview, checking your own working theories, which is actually why they're so robust. This person doesn't see that. They want to engage in the external space instead of the internal space, which means they want to engage in a debate energy, but this would be the fucked up version of debate that I was talking about in pile number one, where it's just belligerent, and this person doesn't care to listen. This person doesn't care to listen. They just regurgitate. And I feel like this person regurgitates a lot of shit that they've heard online, is what I heard. And they don't really take the time to understand it and to look into it. And I'm not talking about looking into it in terms of like what talking heads are saying. I'm talking about looking into the pillars, the fundamental theories of what holds it up and what doesn't. And they don't take the time to do that. But I think that you kind of already know this. So again, I'm bringing this back to, what do they misunderstand about you? Literally everything that they observe. This person is not a good observer, basically. So this person can be actually very dangerous because they're so superficial, this person, because they think because something is mental that it's intelligence. No, it's not. There's a lot of garbage that goes on up there, and you have to be able to sort through it. Not everybody's got a Ramana Maharshi that says, look, the mind is the biggest obstacle to liberation. So you have to learn how to use it. You have to learn what it's effective at and what it's not effective at. And what it's not effective at, you have to learn ways to kind of get around. And part of that is living in a social group that will check you, but that is capable of checking you here as well. This person also thinks they're capable of checking you, and they're not. And so I think this person has taken offense to you just not respecting them. And I don't think that you've respected this or disrespected this person in your behavior. I think that you don't respect their opinion. And it's not because you don't have a respect for opinions that are different than yours. This is a person who tries to hide in like big groups like that. Oh, well, you are not listening to me and you disagree with me because you don't respect opinions that are different than yours. That's projection. This person actually doesn't respect opinions that are different than theirs. You actually do respect opinions, but it's lead me to the rock that is higher than I. And like I said, this person doesn't understand your internal apparatus because they don't have one of their own. So, they have a lot to learn from you, but this person is like in their own way, in a huge way. Yeah. So this person is stagnant. They also don't understand your spirituality. I feel like they also don't understand, like, if you have a meditation process, this is somebody who may not understand the value of meditating or of just calming your thoughts. Being stagnant, taking the time to learn a different perspective, to see things, to be quiet and listen. I feel like this person is hardly ever quiet. This person thinks that they're reflective, but being reflective is quiet and receptive. This person, I think, takes in information, but they don't take it in too deeply, and they just regurgitate it. And they're like, I'm reflective. I've taken in information. No, they haven't. And they haven't done it with the quality energy that you've done it with. But they think they have. They tell themselves that they have done that. This person's feeling very anxious, actually. And possibly about a lover situation and possibly about like being separated out. So maybe for some of you, this is like a lover. I feel like this person doesn't feel like they measure up to you. We've already kind of talked about that in pile number 1. They feel like you have sanctuary. This person likes to flummox you is what I'm hearing. They like to like ruffle your feathers and they feel like you have sanctuary. And that's important because what it's done is I think you actually could be soulmates with this person if they could like learn how to act. But spirit has actually separated the two of you out because this person has to address this within themselves. And they have... Okay, so you could be the person, remember at the end of pile number 1, which I've started to notice that like at the end of the piles, we start to kind of kneecap into the other pile. There's kind of like a flow. But you could be that person that this person's meant to watch and observe and be quiet because this person is never quiet. Twin Flame, thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, like this person is just never quiet. And how can you ever truly learn anything from anybody? That's another thing, because I think you've spent huge stretches of time being quiet and actually listening to other people, multiple other people. This person may know that about you. They may not know that about you. But this is another person where it's dangerous because this person sitting in a classroom is just not the same energy as you sitting in a classroom. It's just not. The level of, there is an intellect difference here. And, you know, I hate to say it, but like there just is. And that's part of the realities of life. You are much smarter than this person and they have to be able to admit that. That's also what you're good at. I just heard you say like you don't have a chip on your shoulder about that because I feel you and I feel that you have sat in rooms with people who are intelligent, who are more intelligent than you, at least in certain areas. And I think you actually have a talent of recognizing who's smarter than you. Sitting quietly and respectfully and giving homage to someone who has taken the time to educate you. I just got goosebumps. And so that's what you integrate. And it all comes from silence. And this person wants to be seen on the level. And they're just not. Like this person's actually very anxious. And they're anxious that they lost you. And they're trying to bait you in with some of their old tactics. And not all of them are annoying. Some like this person can be trying to be funny or something here like that. But I feel like spirits actually split the two of you apart because this person fell prey to some kind of temptation energy. I actually think they could have been given some kind of test in your energy where it's like, are you going to lash out and be stupid? And this person did. And spirit was like, okay, separate them. All right. So you broke the mold for this person. Okay. That's what they don't understand about you because remember like this person, it's all in the observational energy and the mind, very air energy. You broke the mold for this person in some way and this person doesn't understand it because we do have Danishta energy here as well. So this is another thing that this person doesn't understand because Danishta is the height of Mars. So you possibly have a very mature Mars, which again would demonstrate an ability to be, this is very much like a, not, oh my gosh, why am I an idiot right now? Not Tai Chi, but like not Kung Fu, but like somebody who is like a martial arts master where it's about understanding like inertia and energy and like how to work with certain things. There's histories of like Buddhist monks, you know, or sages that were also monks. And people say, well, why are you monks? Don't you believe in nonviolence? And they said the fact that we are trained to defend and protect ourselves deters a lot of violence. You know, and that's how we maintain the peace here. And so there's something about that with your Mars energy where you are just like very mature. This person doesn't understand that. Danishta also has a wealth of good karmas and can be very actually like physically attractive. And that's actually the place with Danishta that tends to come from is having some kind of good karmas, especially as related to the body. So yeah, and there's like some kind of like breaking of the mold. So you have broken this person's mold and that's good. It's meant to kind of broaden their mind, but they can't accept that's what you're meant to do and that you are capable of doing that because you actually have a wealth of good karmas here. And the other thing is sometimes there can be like accident energy related to Danishta, like just kind of random like accident. And it could be a random accident that this person like ran into you in some way for you to break their mold. But there also could have been some kind of random accident that this person doesn't understand was like a random accident. Yeah. So, and it could have to do with you. Maybe you had a random accident or maybe they did. There's like a misunderstanding of that. This is a weird person too, because like, I feel there's been a separation here. And once like, if you are ever removed from their energy, this person will crave you. Like they can't help but disrespect you, but this person like craves you because they do know that you're different in some way. So this is weird. This is like, it's kind of fixation, and this person doesn't know where that energy comes from because they actually respect you quite a bit, even though they don't show it in their behaviors. And I think that is a manners issue. This person, it's funny because the things that are wrong with this person are the things that you expect to be wrong with this person. And I think this person is the kind of person that will weaponize nuance. This person will, whenever you just call this person out and it's like, there sincerely is an intellectual difference between the two of us. I'm not saying that to be mean. Sincerely, that's what the problem is. There is sincerely an issue with this person lacking manners. And if you point that out, this person is like, oh, you are not nuanced. You are not patient. And you're like, no, if the problem was something more nuanced, I would be happy to admit that. You are an ill-mannered, unintelligent person who refuses to not be belligerent, to sit quietly in a classroom and actually defer to someone else's intelligence and literally put all of your brain down to just try and understand what someone's trying to tell you, to try to listen to the heart of it. And then take it in yourself and consider it thoroughly later when you're outside of trying to understand what's being proposed to you and try to figure out where it like sits in the world. This person doesn't have that. And I feel like if you are just trying to say like, genuinely, we are not the same level of intelligence. Genuinely, nobody taught you any manners, you should fix that. Like this person should fix it. That's the problem. And I feel like it's a problem that a lot of people have in their life. I think they've been able to overthrow people because you have good manners. So like you have good karmas, which I think means you have good social skills, good manners, and you're highly intellectual. Genuine intelligence comes from you. That's well-rounded. And so this person, it is like you hold up a solid mirror and you kind of are throwing this energy. They're forced to face that the problem is them. And this person has never had to do that before. And it's a real gift. And this is a person who so lacks intellect. They don't know that it's a gift, right? Nikki, thank you so much for the super chat. And pretty is subjective. The Bayou just said, yeah, exactly. Yeah, because there is a competitiveness that came through in pile number 1 and also in this too, where it's like, there's so many different kinds of types and things that people are attracted to. And some people are like a calf person. They really like people's legs. Some people like people's biceps or their abs or like whatever. Like everybody has like a weird thing that they're like attracted to, or something. So again, whatever someone's drawn into, but this person is fixated on your energy. And it's dangerous for this person to be fixated on anybody because they do not have high quality capability in what it is that they are observing. This is the person where it's dangerous too, because you like to be able to tell people like, well, just go do your research. Just go investigate that. Well, this person, the more random bits of data and information that this person has, the more dangerous they are because they do not take it into a level of depth. They don't refine it within themselves to actually turn it into something productive and useful and to make sure it connects with the other things in their worldview. They don't do it. This person does not have a love of knowledge. They have a love of winning, and that's different. So this person is constantly trying to be superior. There's a lot of overlap here between that and pile number 1. Okay, anything else that this person misunderstands here about pile number 2? It's shoulders and teeth for me. Interesting. Shoulders and teeth. Nice. Okay, here's a weird one for me that I've always been attracted to. Like seriously, I can remember like when I first started to like have crushes on like some of the little boys in my class, like the little, like, it's not unkempt, okay, but just like kind of like the wild boy. Like I don't cut my hair all the time, and like there's like a little rat tail kind of thing like in the back. I really like that for some reason. Like I hate it when they like cut it and it looks like all civilized. I don't like that. Anyways, see what I mean? Like it's the most random thing that it's just draws me right in. Called reintegration, or like the digestive tract for information. Exactly. That is so cute. I think it's cute that you like shoulders and teeth. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Which one do you find most attractive? Let us know in the comments. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Okay. Not the rat tail. I don't want it to be in like a ponytail or anything, okay? That's too much, okay? There's a sweet spot. There's a zone for me, okay? I do have standards. And the perfect hair on the hands and the palms of your hands. Interesting. I'm so curious what the perfect hair is on the hands and the palms of the hands. Yes, Alex has one. Okay, Alex is a mountain man, okay? And for some reason, I'm just attracted to that. I'm just attracted to the, like, I can't be tamed, but in a way that is, like, wilderness, Okay. Just a little bit. Very manly. Okay. The eyes. I like eyes. This is such a cute conversation that we're having. Oh, and the Luna's here. What do you like, Luna? Oh my goodness. I'm sure cats have their own system too of what they find attractive. Oh my. Okay. So I love today. All right. I imagine Tarzan. Okay. So anyways, anything else that pile number 2 does not misunderstands about them? They think, I feel like there's a lot of projection that goes on here too, because I just saw the Queen of Wands like multiple times when I was shuffling. And so I feel like you have this Queen of Wands energy, which the Queen of Wands is a lot of times a witch. So if you have that kind of witchy vibe, then they could misunderstand where that comes from. Also, Queen of Wands for me, it's like very beginning of Aries is like kind of what I associate that with, which is very rebirth energy. So you may have had some kind of rebirth that this person, and it could be attached in some way to your intelligence. And I'm hearing myself say from another reading that you've broken free from some kind of socializing that you have had. And this would actually be a very internal, very deep, very slow process for you. But because it's nobody's fucking business, you probably have not just been narrating, especially not on your Twitter, like, narrating every single step of like certain things being unlocked and you connecting certain dots for yourself. This would be a very slow process, but then you kind of emerge like reborn in some way. And this person does not understand that process in you because this person is so shallow and they don't take knowledge in very deeply, and they certainly don't marinate on certain things. They don't understand that in you. They misunderstand that in you. Also, Queen of Wands, very sexy, very confident, very self-assured in that Aries energy, very auspicious energy. Aries is a very auspicious sign, if not the most auspicious sign. The grand fire trine, Aries, Leo, Sag, very auspicious signs. But Aries is kind of a magical sign because it's like the first sign. It's like there's a lot that goes into Aries being a very auspicious sign. So there's some kind of auspicious energy in your rebirth. And also you could have good karmas coming in. And this could have led to some kind of new beginning. Some of you could have moved. You could have had some kind of major new beginning on the earthly realm. So you could have moved somewhere. You could have taken a new job somewhere. But also I feel like this person maybe is trying to offer you a new beginning. And I actually think you kind of see like a fence being built around you or something. And this person may be trying to say like, oh, it's protective or it's this and it's that. And you just disagree. And you disagree from such a deep place. And this person has such a limited ability to understand you that they cannot even account for. That there's just a lot of misunderstanding here. And I actually think that you could have met this person when you were maybe at like a lower level of consciousness or something, because I think that you could have come from the same place. You come from the same culture. You could have shared a lot of the same beliefs and ideologies, but you have somehow like I just heard very quickly grown out of that. And that's because internally, your internal engines are very different. You have one and they don't. You have actually built up your own internal engine. This is also the thing where we got to be careful about like, hey, well, everybody has their own opinions, but yeah, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. And not everybody's opinion is of the same quality because somebody who's taken the time to build their own internal engine versus somebody who is not, those opinions are going to come from very different places. And this person doesn't even know enough about themselves to understand that they don't have an internal mechanism by which they can take knowledge in very deeply and refine it and connect with it and kind of manipulate it internally. They don't have that. They really don't have that. And I actually weirdly think that this is a person who is very dependent on other people to mama bird information to them, to chew it up and to spit it down their throat. Sorry if that was a gross metaphor. That's just like literally what I'm seeing. And then they try to take it in as though it's their own. They regurgitate information. They just regurgitate it. And they think they've done the thinking, but really this person's just, they really fall prey to propaganda is what I'm getting. And they don't understand that because they just try to take people's like ideas and stuff. Luna is just like right here. Hi girl. Oh, did you hear that? So there could be something here about like the moon energy. Like maybe you and this person have like very different moon signs, or if for those of you who know like Vedic, what I'm referring to here, the Navamsa chart, because in Vedic, you have a birth chart and then you have your Navamsa. So as you approach 40, like there's a whole nother chart that like kind of gets birth, and it's like the rules over kind of the second half of your life. It's what you kind of are moving and transforming into. And so your moon sign and your Navamsa, as you progress through life, because again, you have that internal engine, is going to be maybe very different. Whereas perhaps maybe your moon signs were very in sync at the beginning part of your life. And then Yeah, you could have grown up with this person for some of you. Because there's a sense of this person possibly even watching you for a long period of time. But there's also a misunderstanding of like, to them, you just suddenly changed. I would be very offended by that, I think, because for some of you, this person knows you and they have no excuse for just being so vapid when it comes to your energy, like not truly seeing you. And I also think that's probably a reason why you grew apart from this person, because I think you would feel misunderstood. And I think that you would feel like, again, I think I started off this pile by saying, who are you talking to? You're not talking to me. You're talking at me, but the things that you are saying, you could be saying to anybody. Like it's not like you know me. And so you're speaking to me and to my worldview. You're not speaking to me. Like that's the feeling that you get from this person. And this person thinks that you are so powerful because you speak to them. And it's because you see them. And you even see how this person has changed or not changed and why it is. So it's deeply tailored to them. And the way you speak to this person would not be the way that you speak to another person. That confuses this person as well. Because you're just so present and you're just so integrated and you're just so authentic, and this person cannot understand that. I think they wish that they were that way, and they kind of have a view of themselves that way, but it's so two-dimensional. It's so superficial, and I kind of feel like this person needs to get off the internet. We're still talking about things that are attractive. This is hilarious. Okay, no. Sometimes my chat doesn't catch up. Okay, anything else that this person misunderstands? Okay, interesting. They misunderstand the past. Something about, I think there's a specific conversation or something in the past that they actually misunderstood. I don't think it was as big a deal back in the day, but they still didn't see the heart of you then. But again, I think you come from the same, they also could have not understood that you were in the process of transforming. So you possibly were not able to articulate about it. And it's not because you're stupid or anything. It's because something was in the process of changing. You hadn't made up your mind about it yet. And so there was something private. There was something internal, something very deep going on within you whenever you were interacting with this person in the past. And I think there could be one conversation or something that this person like reflects on where you guys were getting along. And you were getting along, but it was from that superficial place. And even then, the internal engines inside of you were very different. You just weren't speaking to yours because I think you knew this person wasn't going to understand. And I think that you knew that you didn't even understand the changes because it hadn't completed yet. You didn't know where you were going. You were in the soup. And so you weren't trying to say what it was that you were grappling with or dealing with on an internal level because it just wasn't the time for that. But even then where this person, so even then when this person reflects back on some time from the past, they still misunderstand you. They still misunderstand the person that you were in the past. Yeah. And some kind of fight or conflict, maybe that you were in conflict or that you weren't, something you're like that maybe you were internally conflicted with what it is that you were presenting. You were internally conflicted, but you didn't know specifically what your gripe was with something yet. You hadn't pieced it together. It hadn't run its course. So there's also, I get it. Because the 5 of Wands for me is Saturn in Leo, which is a restriction of self-expression. And a restriction of, there's karmas to be worked out here. So you had some kind of karma and you've met it. I feel like this is beautiful energy too. And you make this look easy because there's a lot of grace and maturity in your energy. And I feel like this is actually the most important thing if this person is preoccupied with your opinions, they're really missing out because you have so much to teach this person and to reflect back to this person. And all of it has to do with your inner process and how you meet the world. That's the real nugget of gold in dealing with you. But if this person wants to preoccupy themselves with literally bullshit, meaningless opinions, because you're not even as attached to your opinions as this person is attached to your opinions. You're really not. You're willing to change your mind. But you, like I said, you know what your opinion rests on. That's how intimately familiar you are with any of your working theories. You are fully aware that it's a working theory. This person just cannot step to you on an intellectual level. They can't accept that about themselves. And it's not, they have the ability, but they don't have that internal engine built up. Yeah. So they don't understand that you restrict the way that you express, or like potentially in the past. And actually that there was some strategy around that. And it's not coming from a selfish place. It could come from self-preservation, but it's also because I feel like you were traversing the woods, like metaphorically the woods. It's like a dark time. Like, I'm seeing like the moon and like the trees and it's like shadows and you're like, is that a person or what is that? Like, and so you were traversing that shadow work. You were traversing that. And this person, they've never done that. So, like internally within themselves, they've never done that. So they didn't understand it in you. Remember in pile 1 when I was saying that if you understand your own internal process, it helps you to understand other people much better. That's what this person is really missing, is they don't connect with themselves as deeply as you connect with yourself. So they misunderstand almost literally everything that they observe about you. And I think it would actually take intelligence, manners, and humility for this person to be able to do that. And that would initiate a shadow work experience for this person, where they're going to have to start asking themselves why they are the way that they are and why they're such a pissant. Because this person overinflates their importance. And they know that they do this. They know that they rely on certain, I'm kind of getting like a pundit energy to chew up information and spit it down their gullet. They know that they require that. They know that their opinions are not their own. And they should know that that makes them incredibly susceptible to pathogens, like intellectual pathogens. And they know that, but they still want to step to you and have an argument and have a debate. And they have to admit that they do that, and they have to ask themselves why they feel the need to do that. What are they proving? Oh, it's just ego. It's coming from a pure egotistical response, which has to do with like defense. And this is again where I feel like it's overlapping here with pile number 1. It has nothing to do with like rightness. That's what this person doesn't understand about you. You are so well oriented inside of yourself. If you were wrong and this person was right, I think even with this person acting the way that they're acting, which is not respectable, I still think you would admit it. I still think that you admit it. Oh, okay, you're right. And I think that you would hope in vain that this person would see your maturity and your willingness to be cooperative and match your energy, and they would never do that because they're a bully. Essentially, this person's a bully and argumentative. And I think they may project these things outwards onto you, or that you're just closed off when anybody in their right mind and anybody in their right heart would wall themselves off to this energy. Yeah, and I think there's actually a lot of love here, but they've made it untenable. So anyways, that's pile number 2. Oh, Luna's still here, guys. You're such a cute girl. I kind of, maybe she likes to sit on the back of the couch. I'm wondering if I can get her over there. She's like nestled in this like very interesting spot. You like hiding. I don't know if this is relevant, but like Luna is so cute. She has this thing where she loves to hide. We used to let them outside, hither and thither, like whenever we lived in a place where it was like safe. And Luna would go out and she would like hide in a bush or something. And Alex and I would be trying to get them in at night. And we would be out there like hollering. And she loved it. You could just tell that she loved it. Like she'd be sitting in a bush and like just watching us. Like she'd be like right there. And like we would be like, I don't know. I looked near and far and I packed a bag and I hiked over that ridge over there. And meanwhile, she was just sitting there the whole time. And then she'd just come out and be like, meow. And then she'd just like, want like some kind of praise. Like, I told you guys, didn't I? I told you. Like, she's so cute. And she's doing that right now. She's like perfectly nestled, like in this hiding kind of spot. She loves to like hide. So maybe you do that and this person doesn't understand. Maybe this is like me capping into pile number 3. I don't really know. But anyways, it's so adorable. Yeah, she's so cute. Okay, so that was pile number 2. Man, I'm just like so thirsty. Okay, so I'm going to put the piles back up. So if you're just now joining us, well, you have impeccable timing. But we just finished pile number 2. So we did the offering and we did the unseen. And now we're going to do the mountain. Barani Matahari said, my discernment is my responsibility. If you're not safe, you're not safe. I love that. You hear the self-accountability there? My discernment is my responsibility. I love that. My discernment is my responsibility. If you're not safe, you're not safe. Because you know that, like at least I hate myself the most when I'm like, I knew that was like an unsafe situation. And I gave you more advantage than myself. I gave you more respect than myself and honoring like my own intuition because I knew that was wrong. And I hate that the most, of like that feeling of like I let myself down and I shouldn't have done it because I knew the whole time that something was wrong. Oh yeah. Oh baby. Aw, Jessie made my day with that smile, woman. Thank you. That's why I decided to leave the group. Oh yeah, compassion to all. So we'll compassion ourselves here. We're doing pile number 3, which is the mountain, and I'll just compassion over the mountain. Hey, girl. Guys, Luna's just being so cute. The cats don't tend to like to come over here like when I'm doing this because it's so much like the light being on here and stuff. But she's here and she's so calm. Aren't you, girl? And she's purring. She's purring really hard. Okay. They love you, girl. They love you so much, girl. Okay, so pile number 3. I traveled a lot of your mountains in the U.S. Lots of national parks. My favorite place to be is Crater Lake, Oregon. Interesting. I have this really cool book. It's a Reader's Digest book from like way back in the day. I think my mom got it when she retired, and somehow I ended up with it. But it's like the most scenic places and the most scenic drives in America. And I'm going to look that up. Crater Lake, Oregon, because I want to know interesting places to go, and I can look it up in my book. And it says very scenic drives. That's a good girl, Luna. Very scenic drives and all like really cool places to eat and things like that. So I'm going to look that up. Okay, this is the one I've been waiting for, pile number 3. Here we go, dee. All right, pile number 3. I miss my kitty. Thank you, Luna, for stopping by. I love that you said that because she literally just walked away. So it's like you knew that she like just stopped in and like left. Okay, pile number 3. What are we doing again? What do they misunderstand about you? All right, what do they misunderstand about you? I just heard drums. Whoa, I just heard like chanting drums. Dong, 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 dong. There's a K2 energy here. Whew. This is a potent energy. Yep. Okay, so pile number 3. What does pile number 3's person misunderstand about them? Oh my gosh, Jumanji. I made a meme one time. It was like the first meme I'd ever made, and I didn't share with anybody, but it was a picture of Robin Williams in the floor in Jumanji with his head like out, in the dining room. And it was like working through karma, be like being in Jumanji and like his head is like through the floor. Anyways, sorry. I thought that was funny. Okay. Anyways, pile number 3. What do they misunderstand about you? Oh my gosh. Maybe that is hold on. Let me just see. What do they misunderstand about you? Okay, I feel like you're impervious to like, it feels like group disrespect or gossip. So, because some of you here, like, you might be a bit of a loner. I just heard that quote that is like, no matter how the wind may howl, the mountain cannot bow to it. So I feel like this is a group that's very like, respectful. There's a lot of self-respect here. There's a lot of dignity that you give to other people. I'm hearing like live and let live. And I just feel like you're very respectful to other people and like their space and their positions and things. And you really don't seek out drama. And I feel like you're just kind of like self-contained like this mountain. So you could also present as like very stoic and very dignified, but you do have a lot going on. This is kind of the running theme I've noticed through all of the piles is this ability to self-restrict when it's for the higher good. And I feel like that's what you do. And I actually think that you lead by example quite a bit because this person or these people I feel have a lot of karmas to do with social groups and involving with negative gossip. They undermine themselves and they undermine their positions in a social group because I think these are people that gossip and I think these are people that like I just heard tear into it, like they tear into something here. And so actually they do erode their trust, even with the other people that are in that group, because people kind of know that they're fickle and that they're a certain way. Something about the way that this person gossips and forms their friendships, it comes with like a soggy bottom, not like the taco, but I'm picturing like termites in the floor or something, like where it kind of like rips out like a foundational energy. They don't know that they undercut their position. And I actually think karmically speaking, you are a person that's meant to show them a different way, meant to show them how to stand on their own, how to, not be sucked into some kind of, I'm seeing Mean Girls in my mind, and it's all the things of like, well, we wear pink on Wednesdays and you can only wear sweatpants once a week. And you are impervious to that. It seems like, I mean, not that you're totally unaffected by it because we are a social creature. But I just feel like you will stand up to it in your energy. It goes back to the Abraham Lincoln thing. Like when somebody's right, I must walk with them. And when somebody's not, I must like separate from them. And you have a very live and let live attitude. And this is, and you don't give much away. And part of that is in order to allow people to be themselves around you because you know exactly who you are. And I feel you're very firm. You're showing up as the mountain. You're very firm in that. And again, it's like in your values, in your dignity. But, and these people actually like very wiggly. I'm seeing like Gumby, or if you've seen one of those like blow things that a lot of car car sales places have like the balloons that just kind of like, it's like a man, like a Gumby man that like has a fan in it. Like they're like that. And I feel like that comic energy, like, these people, they could tie in with like maybe pile one or like some of these other piles where maybe they're even trying to make you laugh or something, but you didn't find it funny, so you didn't laugh because maybe something about it was actually not funny. I recorded a reading that I don't think it's come out yet, but it was something like, somebody here is actually not funny. Like they're actually cruel. They like something here is just actually not funny. And like I think these people, it's something, there's a sense of humor here that is connected to a social group, and it's like low or something. And I feel this has maybe been levied at you, but you were a teacher in this space to some of these people. And I think actually some of these people were trying to get your attention because you actually hold a lot of energy or a lot of respect. So they misunderstand where that comes from. They think it's like an antisocial quality when I think it's a standards thing. And I think that it's a values thing. Cause like I said, you really know your values and you won't, I heard somebody say that we don't adjust our systems. We don't adjust our values to match our systems. We match our systems to our values. And I feel like that's you. Like you don't dip your values. Like, and you don't want the group to influence you in some kind of way, where it's not appropriate to be influenced. You see what I'm saying? And like these people don't understand that. And I feel like they could have been, I think that there's a humor thing that was perverted. Like there's something wrong in a humor space where they're using it wrong. They're using it to make fun of others, and you were like, you didn't think it was funny, or you corrected something, or they're like, why don't you just laugh? Like, okay, this person must be antisocial, or they must not have a sense of humor. Actually have a very refined sense of humor, and it's not the same as like, a lot of people have an issue with woke now. And people tend to forget that woke was like several different sectors, independent sectors of our collective population coming together to inform both sides of the aisle of what it was like to live in their shoes. And we all were listening to that and being like, oh yeah, like, and empathizing with that and being like, I never thought about it like that, or thank you for informing me. And then like trying to integrate that like new knowledge. This to me, it's like, oh, you refuse to be harmful. So therefore you take yourself too seriously, or it comes from this place or that place, instead of it comes from you trying to be good, or it comes from you upholding your own values or something here like that. Again, sorry about like another like political thing, because I don't think that you're a person who expects people. Something here's been blown way out of proportion, because I don't think that you're the kind of person that like expects people to like not have fun or like to take themselves too seriously or something. I just think that you have some kind of refined perspective here. So and you're also very emotionally okay. So the Queen of Cups, she's the one that has the lid on her cup, and you can see this. I think this is a swan. Pardon my ignorance. The cup here where she's got her wing over it. So it says you don't allow other people to affect. This is emotional stability, is what this is. They misunderstand your emotional stability, and they think that it is you being standoffish, or you being what's the word? Like kind of stuck up. And you're not stuck up, but you are dignified. I think this is a person who conflates dignity with being stuck up. And they possibly, okay, here's another thing too. There could be a wealth thing here as well, because you're dignified and you emotionally regulate, and you have values that you try to live up to. I also think that you have a lot of self-discipline, and this kind of reminds me of the marshmallow test, where they've done studies where kids, if they give a kid a marshmallow and they say, okay, if you can restrict your behavior and not eat that marshmallow, I'm going to give you 2. That kid has a greater statistical likelihood of growing up to have more money and to be wealthy. I think there's like some kind of connection to wealth, and I'm hearing Danishta, because Danishta is a wealth of good karma, and it is actual material wealth as well. So yes, I think some of you have done very well for yourself, but it's because of the traits that you possess. It's because you can restrict your behavior. It's because you can emotionally regulate. And people who can emotionally regulate do much better in a professional setting, because they're not just flying off the handle at customers or something like that, This person does not understand that. And I think that they feel sad, or they feel like you have, they think that you've rebuffed them in some way. They think that you have not chosen them, or that you don't like them in some way because you didn't get down with them in some way that they wanted you to. And you weren't actually rejecting this person. And this is also a group that you have the ability to separate the behavior from the person. That's another thing I've learned in psychology and working with kids is you criticize the behavior, and so I think you understand, or you try to understand, where the behavior comes from. And this person, it has not been able to separate out your behavior from something that they think is more intrinsic to your nature. Also, some of you have leadership, not just ability, but you have like some kind of, at the very least, this is social leadership that I think you've expressed to this group here. You are the spoke, not the spoke in the wheel, but like you're that internal bit of the wheel that everything else kind of spins around. In some arena of your life, I do feel like that's true. And you are the stable piece that everything flexes around. And that's helpful. And it's a hard job. And it's potentially somebody that's got to be able to stand alone in this emperor energy. And I'm kind of getting a reverse energy of this because it's like the sun energy, which is philosophy, self, career. Like it has to kind of overshadow the moon energy. But there's a stability that you provide. And it's important that you provide it. And it is actually your pro-social nature, which is why you were doing that. You're perfectly qualified for leadership. And even though like you're kind of withdrawn, you're exactly the kind of person that should be in leadership. Because somebody who appeals to this, who's going to whip this up, who's going to tell these people everything that they want to hear, that is not the person who should be in leadership. Not at all. These people are going to like them more. These people are going to think they understand them more. They're going to be like, that person's just like us. Well, guess what? They shouldn't be. Because this person is on the spokes of the wheel. This person, the person who is in this position of holding the space, holding the structure, should be different than the people who are moving around it. Because they have a different function. So they have to have different traits. So you actually have a very important role to play in this group for it to be healthy, for it to be progressive, like the wheel energy, like moving forward. And that is not respected in this group because I feel like there's a particular person here, but I also think that there's associates that this person has. And I think that they're not satisfied in those relationships, but they're not threatened by them either. So whereas I think that they could compare themselves unfavorably to you, but I think they demonize the traits and qualities that you have when it's actually very impressive and it's actually very strong and it's very, you're perfectly suited to some kind of role. And also like, I always notice this with the mountain because it's kind of hermit energy with that one loner guy in there. And also like, look, it's fiery. It's fiery. That's self-restrictive. It's cold out there. And also, I just heard it's a cold, cold world because do you know how cold it has to be out there for that level of fire to be going on in that mountain and for it to not melt the snow? It has to be frigid. So I feel like there's some kind of coldness or in your world or something. And it's like, and actually the warmth, the mountain is providing a lot of warmth. So you're warm. This person doesn't understand your warmth. They don't understand your warmth. They don't understand the way that you express your care. And I think it's because I do think this person, I think that you could be a little bit reserved, but I think it could be because of the nature of like your position and their position. So you haven't had a chance maybe to communicate in the way that would help this person to understand. For some of you, it's like, for some of you, it's not even necessarily like a bad thing that this hasn't happened. It's just kind of the nature of it. Like you're busy, they're busy, like in different arenas or something like that. But you have a warmth. You are actually a very pro-social person. Queen of Cups came out. You're a loving person, but the way that you express it is through Emperor energy. It's by you're stable for your loved ones. You show up, you're a boundary, you work within the lines, and a mountain provides shade from like the winds and the weather and stuff. It provides protection for that. That's the way that you show your love and your care. And if you weren't as predictable, because I think that's another thing about you is that you can be very predictable. And they're like, come on, don't you ever break? They better be glad that you don't break, actually. And it doesn't even come from a bad place. You just are who you are. That's what they don't understand. You have the values that you have. And for some of you, this has like to do with some kind of professional capacity. And they might want you to break and they might want you to be more social. And there might be a time and a place for that, but they might not have ever interacted with you in that time and place, or maybe you feel like it would disrupt your ability to be the mountain where you need to be the mountain. So this person just doesn't understand why you are the way that you are. And then it actually comes from a very good place and a very loving place. And it's actually water energy is what I'm getting. It's water energy. I think you have a charisma to you as well. This person may not understand your charisma, like why they're so drawn into you, because again, I'm picturing like the water is the snow energy and the fire is internal, and water and fire is a very charismatic energy to me. So I think there's a charisma to you. There's like, they're drawn into you and they don't understand that either. Yeah. They don't understand your strategy. They don't understand their strategy. Like, you have a strategy in terms of accomplishing what you want to accomplish, which is actually a very pro-social goal. But I think you can be very withdrawn, like, into yourself. And so this person, there's a lot that's secret, or there's a lot that is kept in here. So it's just like not voiced. But I actually feel like there's a different kind of communication that comes off of you. And it is okay, there's some kind of tribal thing with this group. You're very shamanic. This is like a very shamanic group, and I strongly am feeling past lives here. And I don't know if you feel a connection to the mountains or the woods. Asiatic. I just heard Asiatic. So maybe there's a connection to that as well. The mountains of Asia. But there's that kind of quality. It's very K2. So there's something about you that's very K2. It's body. I just heard body. Like, you're very like rounded in the body, and K2 has a different way that it knows things too. It doesn't come through the mental mind. It comes from past lives. This is very shamanic. A lot of you are healers. You're very healing. When it comes up through the body, there's an innate understanding of the body and nature. And that's how you communicate, actually. It's very Steve Irwin with a happier ending, you know, but it's very like this, like, it's very looking at the body language, looking at it's that. And there's so much communication that's kind of going on, and you're meant to hold that space. It's kind of a gravity sink, and it's a gravity sink that actually people really like. And people actually feel very calm. And actually this person, I think, actually does, if they could stop their mental mind, because I think that's a part of, this person could be very mental, and it's so mental. That's how they form their relationships. It's a lot of communication. That's how they try to understand things. And I'm hearing Ramana say, who is K2? Because K2 is the sage. That's one version of K2. But I'm hearing the mind is an obstacle to liberation. So I think you're meant to snap this person out of their mind, the chokehold that the mind has in terms of trying to understand certain things. Because this person actually very much likes your energy. They feel calm, is what I'm hearing. They feel calmed around your energy. They feel comforted. They feel safe. And I think that, again, I've worked a lot with kids, and I've noticed that some of the teachers that are very strict, they are very strict. But the thing is, you know exactly where they stand. And those are the teachers that the kids, I'm getting goosebumps, the kids actually really like. They really respond to is they're not looking for somebody to be their friend. A kid likes to be able to predict its environment because they don't have a lot of control over a lot of things. So they like to know where the authority in the room stands on a lot of things. They don't like to be surprised. They like to be able to predict your behavior. And they like knowing that when they kind of test your boundaries, you will hold that very firm. It's not cruelty. It's not anything. You have that energy. It's very well integrated. I love it here. This faction rules. Kids love me. Barani, I have alligators in my backyard. Yo. How scary. Anything else? You provide some kind of path forward. Okay, so I saw the Two of Wands, and in this deck, it looks like, if you've ever been bowling and you've used the bumpers, it's like that. Like, you are the bumpers in some way, and you are there to provide some kind of fail safe. Mountains have a way of deadening weather. Like, what I mean is, like, they kind of block the blow of a storm, so they make it softer. Like, for whoever's on the other side of the mountain, that's you. They actually don't know how much you block for them. Boundaries, protection. But there's something that you need in order to function, which is your independence and your autonomy and something like that. Like, you need space to do what it is that you need to do. And you cannot explain every single thing that you're doing because it's K2. It's not of the mind. Again, it's just, you're like, I don't know, it's muscle memory. And this person maybe doesn't understand that. Because again, I think for some of you, this isn't even like, there's genuinely a misunderstanding here, but this person like doesn't have animosity towards you. I think they're actually sad that they don't understand something, or that they don't, they This is a really nice energy. I actually like this pile. I like sitting in this energy because I feel calm and I feel soothed. And this person doesn't understand that. And I think that just being around you is really good for this person. And I think over time, this person's energy would just settle around you and the mind would settle. And like, or for some of you, it's like the leadership you write, something here, something that you're guiding them towards, the mind would just settle. This person could exhale and all that mental energy that's just pinging around, which maybe is this person's strong suit as well. For some of you, this is a Rahu Ketu thing because Rahu is very mental and Ketu is very grounded. And so you could have that effect on each other where there's some kind of positivity here for some. But yeah, if they could just calm down, something here that they think would need to be explained. This person thinks they need to for you to explain something to them, for them to feel calm and for them to trust you. I actually don't think that's the case. I think if this person is just allowed to be around you, and maybe that's something that you aren't so good at, like is just kind of, I'm literally seeing you sit there. I'm seeing the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. You know, when he has like the birds all like sitting on him and it's like, something like, he's sweet and I don't know, like, and now he's dear. And so I'm sure, I don't know why I didn't see it there before. Like this person just didn't, and the Beast is like that animal nature, right? It's that K2. Yeah. And actually there's something, okay, so people are scared of animals because animals can be impulsive and animals can be like defensive and stuff. It's that animal, like, yeah, you can say something to me, but I'm going to pick up on your body language. And if you're not backing down, I'm going to protect myself. But there's a predictability in animals because animals tend not to be cruel. That's soul. Animals tend not to be cruel. Nature is red with tooth and claw, but it's not for sadistic sake. And even like some kind of cruelty, like a cat. Cats like to play with their food, but it's curiosity. It really is curiosity. It's like, what is it I'm playing with? And it kind of comes from that space of innocence. So it's like there's something actually like very predictable about you that this person can trust. And I think that you would prove this person's worldview wrong just from them being around you. I'm literally seeing this person go, it's like you're the influence that they didn't even know that they needed, but God knew they needed it. And I feel like God actually pushed this person around you to be around your energy and they don't understand it. And it's going to ruffle this person's feathers before it calms them down. This is the dance between the two of you. You're not a negatively intentioned person. You're not pompous. You're not full of yourself. You have a role to play and you understand that and you have certain values around that. And there's an emotional regulation and not being emotionally affected. This person could also be trying to get to that part of you to feel safe, but that's not actually what they need. There's a way you hold yourself and it's good for this person, but they just don't know it. Yeah, you're unique. You're unique. This is very like pitchforks and shit, like, you know, coming at you. And you're like, let us get out of the soup together. And this person is like, I don't really know about you. But yeah, there's a real nurturing quality that comes through you. It might be more masculine, actually. Like you hold yourself to a standard, you color within the lines, you know, and that's kind of the way I feel you moving slow around this person too. But they don't know how to read that. It's like they don't know how to read it. They don't know that that's you being nurturing and that's you respecting their space. This person thinks they need a mental thing and a mouth thing. Like they need you to say something in particular. They need you to explain yourself. This person doesn't understand that the reason why you're doing that is because it's so well integrated with you that it's not even necessarily that you could say, and now I'm doing this. I think that's what this person wants. And now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing this. It's just not the way that you function and it's not the way that you're meant to function. So, yeah. You're not toxic. You're not toxic. And you don't want them to be toxic. And I feel you are having a conversation with this person. I think you're somebody who tries to speak with your actions. I think you feel you've said more than enough to this person. And I kind of think you're right. I just think that it's, you know, everything in life speaks a different language. And it's like this person has to learn your language. I actually think this person may have a talent at this, picking up on language, but they don't necessarily understand that bodies talk. I heard body talk. So that is something. I can't remember what it is, but it is something. It's a methodology of something. You might want to look up body talk. But this person, it's like bodies talk. And I think that they do understand that. This person's so on edge around you because you're different. You're very different than the kind of person that this person has been around. Whatever kind of person you are, and I think this has to do with your role or your function, you're very different than other people this person has been around in that same role or that same position. You have a very different style. And again, it's not bad that you have it, but it is unfamiliar. And this person sort of needs to sniff around you. If you just, I'm literally picturing you sitting there with birds like all over you and just like this person just like sniffing around you until, and you literally, I feel like this is a time thing. I feel like this is like you never once like snatched them up. You never once tried to eat them. You didn't go for the jugular. This person respects your power. They respect your authority. They just don't know if they can trust it. Because they don't, it's all there for them to see, but they don't know that. And they can't calm down enough to explore that and to come, it's like they have to come to that conclusion themselves. This is a journey. Being around you is an unfolding journey for this person where they're actually going to really like it. I think they really like you. And they will really like you and they will come to really appreciate the difference that you hold. They really will do that. But they're high strung. I feel like there's like high neuroticism here. That's a big 5 trait and you might want to look that up. Yeah. And there's like high anxiety. So if you ever felt that this person was angry with you, they weren't. I don't think that they're angry with you. And this may go, I'm not getting high neuroticism for you. I'm getting it for them. So I feel like this person can be high strung. If you ever thought that you were seeing anger in this person, what you were seeing is anxiety because those two things are very strongly linked. And I think you might not understand the anxiety in this person and where it comes from, and that the antidote to it is literally and actually you. Just you being you around this person will help this person immensely. And that's actually kind of the energy that you bring, just the presence of you. It's less about what you do actually, and more about just hi. And maybe you do want to try to speak this person's language a little bit, but I would be actually careful about explaining too much about how the meat is made or whatever they say, the sausage is made. You don't have to explain that. You know, and maybe you can just explain more of your perspective. Like literally what I just said, like, I don't know. It's just so integrated in me. I don't know. I've never really thought of that before. I just do it. It just sort of comes from, I don't know. I just, because it's little things like that. I don't know. High Anxiety is a movie. Yeah, it's called The Movie of My Life, Jessica Puckett. Yeah. I wasn't sure at first if this is about him, but we have to step away because he's not understanding my actions are my language. Your actions are your language, yeah. The Lightheart Alchemist, thank you so much again for another super chat. Sitting down and letting the kitty come to you instead of chasing them. Insisting you be allowed to pet them. Oh my gosh, that's so true. Because I want Luna to be over here every single time. Luna loves to lay on this couch. She loves it. She gets up like up there. She sleeps right next to Ramana. It's adorable. And I just want her to be here. And she did. She came like right up like on her own. I feel like that's it. You know, it's like, and I'm seeing this scene. I've seen this in other readings with How to Train Your Dragon, Toothless, where the main character, little kid, is like trying to approach him, and Toothless is like very looking at him, and he pulls out like the knife that he's holding, and he like holds it out to the side and like drops it. He makes like a big show of like, I'm not trying to hurt you. See? The language of attraction as well. This is like, and I'm not even really getting this as like romantic or anything, but it's like, I'm not threatening. You can come right up close. Like you expose the wrist, you expose the neck, body talk. I keep coming back. The body's talk. I think more than you have to worry about explaining, if you just pay attention to your body and what your body is saying to this person, like kind of, you know, facing them, light, casual body language, it'll go a long way. And also, but the Toothless thing, because I feel like your role in this person's life, because, you know, Toothless is the alpha dragon, but doesn't know. He's like this rare kind of dragon, and he has these teeth, because he actually does have teeth, so his name is a lie. But like, when they hit this one place, his teeth come out, but he doesn't know that yet. But it's the mom, his mom. If you've never seen How to Train Your Dragon, you're probably lost in this. I'm sorry. So anyways, his mom is like this dragon lady that like is very K2, and she acts like a dragon. She acts uncivilized. She acts like Tarzan. She's like in there sniffing around. She even like sniffs up on him, and he's like, wow, like manners. It's like that. And then, but she knows how to unlock the dragon. I feel like that's maybe what you're learning how to do. You're learning this is like a different kind of thing than you. The Bayou, thank you so much for another super chat. There's the final pieces for that cycle for me. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. Booty shaking is my favorite convo. Oh my gosh. Like I'm speaking to you with my twerking. Yeah. I'm a hugger. Yeah, that might be another thing too. Yeah. I love that film. Dragons are so beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, Jess. Really needed. Yeah, I'm really getting that. And I think it's just both of you kind of learning how to speak each other's language, but on your terms, and understanding what feels disrespectful to the other person. And that's Soul, and he's on a wooden box, if that means anything to anyone. So it's like a crate, one of those IKEA crates. So yeah, it might not feel, but I actually think that that's just only gonna be a problem in the beginning. Because once they understand you as an individual, and once you understand them, I actually think you can cross each other's boundaries a lot more, and it's going to not feel disruptive. So he's on the crate, and he's like marking it. So
just so you know, Luna is right here on my desk, right next to me.
Well, these cats have just been so active. They've just been so active in this reading, and like this is the animal pile. This is like the K2 animal whisperer pile. So anyways, I think they're going to leave that there. You have a very beautiful energy. Very beautiful. It's just not understood by this person. In modern society, I just heard. Some of you might feel misunderstood by modern society as well, because you've kept this very primitive, and I mean that in a very powerful way, a very shamanic way. Your connection to like the natural world or something is very natural. It's innate. It comes from this like very deep place. It's beyond words. It's beyond like thinking or something. If this group tells me that you've had powerful, like mystical, visionary experiences, and probably like unprompted, like I kind of feel like this is a group that doesn't have to even be in some kind of meditative state. And you just like, I'm literally hearing like drumming or, and that could be, I don't know if you just go to a rock concert and like the drums will just transport you. You know what I'm saying? There's some kind of connection to drumming or music in general. Like it's very, this is a rhythmic group. There's like a rhythm. Light of Love, thank you so much for the super chat. Black Cat GF and Golden Retriever BF. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, I've seen those memes and stuff. That's funny. Yeah. Yes, I had a past life regression this morning. Yeah, and this is somebody here, like somebody in this group, you're just very connected to your past lives. Whether or not you know it, there's certain knowledges that you've connected to. So, what are you saying? Settle? Hi. Good boy, thank you. They know some words. They know thank you, but they also don't care to listen, so. Okay. Oh my gosh, like, see, that's like the kind of thing, like he's an animal, but he does know some words. He knows good boy. Yeah. He knows thank you. He knows settle. Don't you? He's a smart cat. He actually is a very smart cat. Okay. Puddins. Played percussion as a child and dance music is a healer. Yeah. I have K2 Indonesia, but that's the one thing about my birth chart I don't understand. Interesting. Well, let's see, Danishta. Do you know where your north node is? Which nakshatra? Let's see, Danishta is at the end of Capricorn. I'm bad with the circles. Does that correspond with the beginning or the end of Cancer? Oh, it's in Maga. That's Leo, so it must be at the end. Interesting. Those are very mystical energies, both of them. So you have very, okay, whoa. Like, okay, so I usually don't go off on a tangent. Like, take this as you will. Those are very mystical shamanic energies, very, very. So Danishta, it's like you have very good karmas. There could have been some kind of accident energy in your past, breaking through some kind of molds, which could be like visionary experiences, like being able to transcend different like layers of reality, but moving into a Maga direction. Maga rules over like cemeteries. It rules over like ancestors. It rules over like dead loved ones. It's kind of like a dark, spooky nakshatra. But it is also very rhythmic. Like sometimes MAGA individuals are very routine. These are the people that go to the same diner every single day for like their whole life. And that's what they do, you know? They are like weirdly routine, but it doesn't come from that Virgo place. It comes from tradition. It comes from family. It comes from, you know, hometown. It comes from like something like that. But it's cemetery energy. So you might be able to connect with, I don't know. Did you have an accident in your past? I'm just so curious. That maybe you got some weird kind of power from. Are you Spider-Man? I'm sorry. Okay. So anyways, that's just like throwing out that highly mystical energy though. Very etheric realms. And Maga's Shakti power is to leave the body. I think you may have had some kind of accident in past lives. Oh my gosh. I'm literally getting that. You know, where like a near-death experience, you probably have an interest in that, or you should, but like where you pop up out of the body. And I think you did it on accident. I'm literally getting goosebumps. Like you did it on accident. Or maybe you've done that in this life. If you ever play around with past life regression or something, you may accidentally astral travel somewhere or something. But anyways, that's going to help you do it on purpose. You may have a real knack for that. Just saying. I don't know anything about that. I just said that to somebody in a personal reading where I was like, I think you may have a knack for this, but I don't know anything about like astrally traveling. I don't know if it's possible. But I do think some people just have a knack for leaving the body. Anyway. North Node in Libra in the 11th house. Very mystical shaman past life stuff. Did Germany. Yeah, because Vishaka energy as well. Okay, cool. Taking blows in the spirit, alchemizing it, and turning it into love and releasing it. Yeah, yeah. It's possible. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I have accidentally done that. The very first time I ever meditated was as a child, and I popped up out of my body and I was in the middle of the solar system, like floating in the middle of the solar system. It scared the shit out of me, and I just went right back to my body. So I spook easily as well. With this spiritual stuff, I don't like it. I've had another experience where one of my friends who died, tragically, self-inflicted, and I woke up with him like hovering over me, but it was the one time in my life I ever sleptwalked, but I don't know if I sleptwalked or not, because I woke up with the wind blowing my face, and I woke Alex up from his slumber, and we had to like push things in front of the door because I was too scared to go back to sleep. I thought I was putting something away in a closet, but I was moving, and then it scared me, and then I went back to sleep, and I woke up and he was hovering over me, and I've never really seen or experienced a ghost besides that I've actually seen, but he was there, and he was just staring at me in this like very intent way, almost like he was trying to figure out how to get back in there or something. I don't know. It was weird. Yes, that's why a lot of Magas individuals like transcendental meditation so much. You probably do like that. Like where it scares me, you probably like that. Maybe it feels comforting to you. And it could be because Maga is also linked to the Patrice, which is all the masculine energies in your family. And that's a lot of times where your intuition can come from, especially if it's North Node, it can come from there. You just asking questions to the male members of your family. And I don't know if you know anything about that, because they may have been very learned in certain areas, like however far back that goes. But they may have been very learned, and they will give you information that they have. Like that's where the intuition comes from, and they help you very strongly achieve your destiny when it comes to like the North Node. So ask them, talk to them. I would just get in a habit. If you have Maga strong in your chart, just get in the habit of talking to those people. Because you have to ask as well. That's the thing about it too. It's like you have to ask. So just make sure that you're asking. Okay. I'm very close to the spirit realm. Yeah. I'm so funny because I'm very cerebral. I love spirituality, but it literally scares me to have an actual experience of it. Isn't that the weirdest thing? Yeah. I adore cemeteries. See, these people exist. People are like, I just feel so comfortable in cemeteries. With all that energy around me, I just love it. I don't know. Like, not me. Interesting. It's hard because I don't speak to any of the males in my family, really. You're a cool cat, Jess. Thanks. It's oddly comforting. And he banked on me sounding crazy, telling everyone my husband was his spell work, so trust me, I'm moving with ancestors. There you go. Okay. So, let's go to the general messages. What shall we use? What shall we do? Okay. I just picked this up. I've been trying to distract myself from my feelings. So maybe some of you have been trying to distract yourself from your feelings lately. You want more. I'm afraid to get close to people. Okay, so you want more. And I feel like this is, am getting you want more in some capacity. This feels like maybe a social capacity, like maybe you want more connection or you want more friends, or there's a certain person that you feel connected to. And this doesn't even necessarily have to be romantic. It's just like, I really fuck with you, you know, or like, I really just want to like, literally I saw that MAGA energy of like, I would love to sit down at the diner. I would start my day off every day just like having a cup of joe and a smattering of pancakes or something more healthy and sensible. You know, I would love to do that with you, kind of thing. But you're afraid to get close to people because I think you could be used to people siphoning off of your energy, because I just pulled a card that says you fuel my creativity. And I think that maybe some of you are used to having your ideas disrespected or stolen in some way, or it's like you feel like you pour more into other people than they actually pour back into you. And so I think that you've been like protected or guarded, but it's like you do want more, but you don't know how to go about doing that in a healthy way. Yeah, so that has led you to feeling like you need to be in control, because I think you've been taken advantage of, or you felt whipped around by the leash by other people and other energies. And I'm literally hearing you say like, it's all well and good to say that this is a communication problem, Jess, but like whenever I feel like I have communicated that I felt that my boundaries, it's like whoever you've been around has like a very short attention span when it comes to you and when it comes to your needs, which might be a little narky, you know, where somebody's just kind of like self-absorbed, but also it's really tough in like our Western culture, because like I said, we're all so busy and we're all trapped in this like weird hustle mindset of, you know, I have to go to work for X amount of time, and then I have to get the kids from soccer practice, and then who's going to cook dinner, and then also I've got to go to the grocery store and the laundry needs to get done, and also I need a vacuum, and you know, it's like, how do you find the time to do everything? And so it's an energy game here with you. Heather, thank you so much for the super chat. Name of the chart post 40 again, please. Name of the chart post. Oh, Navamsa. Navamsa. Pretty sure Navamsa. It's a narky system. It is. Okay, yeah, you hurt my feelings. Okay, I feel like there's like a communication thing about like, how do I communicate that somebody hurt my feelings and not be seen as like a pansy or a snowflake, because there's a lot of that in our culture too, where it's like, oh, aren't you just a snowflake? It's invalidating. It's very gaslighty. Or like, you know, really having somebody change because they care about you. And there's just a lot of interference like in our society, the way that our society is set up. There's just a lot of competing things for people's attention. And so I think relationships are kind of like the sacrificial lamb on that. Like, again, not just romantic relationships, but just friendships in general. And I feel like you're really struggling to kind of navigate that. I don't feel ready. I'm frustrated with you. I think that you don't feel ready to have some kind of conversation. You want to bridge a gap, but maybe you have to express that you feel frustrated with somebody and you don't feel ready because of all the things that I said. It feels overwhelming before you even start. Or somebody may have communicated with you that they feel frustrated with you and you don't feel ready to respond to that because you know that you want to give them your full attention, or like you want to respect what it is that they said, but you just don't feel ready to kind of like confront that or communicate that. I can't get over you. Something here, it's like you can't get over it. Maybe you're wondering why you can't get over it. It's because it speaks to some kind of deep need of like a want in you. I'm playing games on purpose. Reach out to me, please. So maybe some of you have been playing games on purpose because you don't know how to bridge this gap any other way. And I think, honestly, I feel like this is an energy game. I feel like you want to maybe learn how to do this or something, but it takes a lot of energy or it takes a lot of time to overcome something. Sage Quills, thank you so much for the super chat. And the mic drop. I like dudes. Oh my gosh, I love that we're still having this conversation. I like dudes with long hair, pulled back, low ponytail. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah. So you've been trying to distract yourself from your feelings because something here, it drives you crazy. Because it's hard. I just feel like there's so many things and it feels like it's work. I just heard work-life balance. It feels like it's need. It's on the need side of things. That's more pressing. It's like more urgent because socialization is a need that we all have. But yeah. So what does Spirit want to say about that? Do you have any advice or anything? Oh, 10 of Cups. So 10 of Cups is an interesting card for me because it is like such a happiness card and joy and like togetherness and cooperation and coming together. But also for me, it's like Mars and Pisces energy, which is funny because Pisces is a very fickle sign. And when it's healthy, it refines things. It brings something to a higher perspective and like a more noble expression. But when it's unhealthy, it can distort and it can lead astray and, it can lose. You can feel like you're losing that part of self. So this being Mars and Pisces, I think some of you maybe I just heard are in relationships, or you have been in the past, possibly with family, where you feel like you lost yourself or where that was expected of you in order to try to have this cooperation. Because it's getting rid of the Mars energy, right? Which is I have an opinion, it's self-defense. It's the self. Like Mars can be the self energy. And again, like, so that's why this energy, okay, I feel like there's some kind of energy with a particular person or with a particular group that you want to reach out to or you want to hang out with or something. It feels overwhelming because you have to undo all of the damage that was done from this like way that you felt like you had to exist before. Does that make sense? Where you had to get rid of yourself. So for some of you, I think that you have this feeling about relationships where it's like, it's either me or them. Like, really, I think that that's the kind of relationship you've been in. Well, it's a little narky, like you could have been involved with like a narcissist where you were taught that being cooperative means getting steamrollered. It means not defending yourself. It means not defending your position. It means not being heard. It means, and so some of you, I don't know, it would probably take a lot for you to get out of like situations or relationships like that. Because for some of you, it's family. But I think that it's the learning that was bad and trusting yourself to defend yourself and to know that you're right and to be able to take another loss. Because I just heard you say like, I don't know if I could take it. If I was trying to stand up for myself and this person told me to take a hike, that I wasn't being like cooperative, then I just don't know if I could take it. And I think what you mean by that is I don't know if I'm strong enough in my mindset to have my own back in that situation. Okay, so I think whoever this general message is coming out for, this is a group. I think you probably have a lot of self karmas to repay of just knowing that you have your own back. And I think it's going to be hard because I think you have to combat like the loneliness. But I just heard, what do you have to lose? So your back's against the wall anyway, so you might as well risk it. Or you are in a position where it's like, you could just give it a try because it's like you are taking a risk to potentially gain something. But if you don't gain it, then logically, like you didn't really have it to begin with. And you might have to fall or something like that. I don't know. But I also can feel that I really feel truly that you're not ready. And I think that there's a lot of internal, I just heard intrinsic self-worth. So I feel like for a lot of you, you're connecting with your intrinsic self-worth. You're just learning to be a protector and a defender of that. I do think that there's a lot of inner work that's going on right now. And if you're telling me that you want this and you're motivated towards something here, cooperative, but like whether that's with one particular person, whether it's with a particular group, something, I really feel that. I feel that you're not ready, and that's okay. I think you are learning healthy social skills with yourself first. And I think in doing that, you are repairing self-karmas where you could have really gotten taken by somebody's bullshit in the past, is what I'm getting. Because you didn't honor yourself, you misunderstood relationships. Where somebody here that was a narc or somebody here that was like really just wanted to their way. They're a very selfish person, but they did it under the guise of cooperation. So they were like, you having an opinion sucks and I don't like that. You having needs that exist outside of me sucks and I don't like that. But I'm going to use fancy words of cooperation. I'm going to mislabel them. I just heard misnomer. Like, I just heard a rose by any other name would smell just as sweet, but this feels like somebody is calling a rose a daisy. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, it's thrown you off and made it to where you couldn't advocate for yourself. You were trapped in a relationship with a narcissist. And so I feel like you have to kind of go through those steps of healing so you can identify it and trust that. Light of Love, thank you so much for the super chat. And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. I love that song. I'm a rose. I'm wicked pilled. LOL. So, yeah, like this is about defense. This is about self-defense. That was dismantled in you. And it was done. This is what's so polluted and perverted about that. You got wrapped up with one of these other groups where I was saying things like that they learning bits of data for them, learning spiritual terms, learning psychological terms. They haven't grounded it in a realistic, holistic, well-intentioned worldview. So they misused it a lot and you got bullied by that. And so now it makes it hard for you to trust people who come from a healthy place in that psychological perspective, people who don't misuse that energy, people who really are using it to heal and to be cooperative and hold themselves accountable and understand that that's part of a healthy relationship. Where I feel like you just felt ran around by somebody or potentially by multiple people and they were using these kind of words, but they were intentionally misusing them in order to keep you on the back foot. And at the end of the day, it's because they come from a corrupted place. That's not love. So learning about these fields that are meant to engender love and protect love, like psychology, like spirituality, if you do not have the right intention, if you come from a corrupted place, which is a place of selfishness, then these can only become a weapon, and their true identity, their true purpose becomes polluted and hard to see past, which is why you have the spiritual traditions from the past. They just, good luck, you're 16 years or something like that. I mean, it's like a crazy long time. You're going to get your ass up, you're going to meditate, and you're going to eat oatmeal. And that's what you're going to do. And you're going to mop these floors. And you're going to do that every day because everybody wants a taste of the esoteric information that we have here. And that's why it's so protected, is because people want it for the wrong reasons. And we have to make sure that you want it for the right reasons. And somebody who is service oriented is more likely to put themselves through that prostration process where they don't just want to stand up in front of the room and be the teacher. They are willing to do the seva, which is like that community service. That I prostrate myself. I have been on my hands and knees scrubbing this floor every day for the last 16 years because I am full of humility. I prostrate myself to these teachings. I know it's not about me and that it's a service to something greater. And I demonstrate that in my actions, and I allow that to change and alchemize me every single day. And I make myself a fit vessel for these teachings to come through, because had I not done the work to do that, had I come from an egotistical place, a selfish place, a place of trying to gain, then it would suck. Then I would be a hypocrite. Then I would mislead. Then I would use this to harm. So people think, oh, psychology is such a good thing. Oh, spirituality is a good thing. I think all of us are mature enough now to say, well, it really depends, doesn't it? Whose mouth is it coming out of? Right? I mean, like, certainly you have been around at least one person who is like, sucks in that regard. And it's hard to even hold that person accountable because usually they're very slippery fish where they're like, I don't know, I just, I wear white and I always smell of incense and therefore I am a good person. And it's like, all of that is just a deflection. You're not actually pointing to something that's genuinely, important. You're pointing to, that's that kind of, I always see like a race car jacket where someone's like, I'm a this and I'm a that, I'm a teacher, I'm a mom, I'm a sage, I'm a monk. And therefore, that guy, the guy that just got called out recently and he was a monk for like 3 months somewhere. I'm going to say it. I'm scared to say it. Well, he's very well known and he's very powerful. If you know, you know. Okay. His first name has the same initial that my first name has. And that may or may not be the entirety of his first name. If you know, you know. Anyways, and he basically got called out because he's a capitalist and he was only a monk for like 3 months and he just did that to kind of like, I don't know. And then, I don't know. It's weird. But like somebody like that comes from that perspective is not going to have the same impact necessarily. Although they can, I truly believe that the universe never wastes anything. Like you can always learn from somebody. So for some people, maybe that was even like the key to their spiritual awakening because they'd never heard spiritual concepts. Maybe he got a lot of people interested in spirituality. And from there, those people can go on to study like real, actual spirituality from people who are sincere in that, But yes. Okay. Brani Matahari, you know who I'm talking about. So yeah. Anyways, I just wanted to say that. Anything else? Judgment. Okay. So judgment of the self is what I'm getting. Releasing that. Okay, so I'm going to message releasing that. Some kind of judgment. Possibly of like something you were involved in. Okay, and I just heard give up the ghost. Okay, but you know what? Okay, some of you, I feel like you're in some kind of judgment mode, and I am not going to sit up here and chastise you. I really feel like this is a part of being an adult, and if you can really master this of like kind of going in and out, this to me, it's shadow work. And once you kind of see these parts of your shadow, you're like, oh, I see how you were just always trying to get my attention, and I've polluted that, and so I acted out of my integrity in some kind of way. I feel like there's been a message here and like you're processing this judgment of the self, but this is a transformative process, that judgment process where you're giving up some kind of ghost. You are no longer the same person. And that means to me, that's how you clear your karma, because you just become a different person and you have to see yourself clearly. So try to hold both, right? Like, I understand this was wrong. I understand I was coming from a corrupted place in some way. I've seen it clearly now and I have made the adjustments, or I'm very willing to do that. That is a high quality person. that means you really were just ignorant. Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. That includes you in that space, right? It doesn't come from a place of malice. It comes from a place of ignorance. So give yourself that grace and to say, okay, I understand better. So when you know better, you do better. As I think it was Maya Angelou who said that. When you know better, you do better. And that's the power of knowledge, where knowledge in the true meaning of that, in the Eastern meaning of that, is compassion. True knowledge and true understanding lead to these very positive outcomes. Because to know something and to integrate it so well is to have, you cannot help but act in any other way. You know, when you truly know, when you truly understand something. That's something that I've been working very, very hard on recently, because I am not the most patient, forgiving person. I'm just not. And like in me trying to deal with like not being snowed by people, which I've been snowed by people because I've been just trying to be such a good person, that people have I've become a doormat in a lot of ways in my life. Not so much anymore. I feel like I'm healing from that, but I become a doormat and I've become impotent. And then I get mad at other people and without taking responsibility for the fact that like, no, I should just tell you that I don't believe you. Or I should just tell you, you know, but in my doing that and trying to find my voice and trying to honor like what I think is going on in a situation, I've realized that I haven't always like stuck by the things that I do know to be true. So I'm trying to like reintegrate myself. I hope that makes sense. It's all a journey. It's a process. Everything is always moving. So try not to just give yourself an immensely hard time about it if you're moving in the right direction. Does that make sense? Just be firm with yourself, but be easy, you know? Okay, just do that. And it's simple. It's simple to do. So it's hard. It can be hard. Anyway. Oh, there's Luna again. Hi, girl. What a surprise. I just keep running into the moon energy. And maybe that's you, where it's like, oh, there's my moon energy again. And for some of you, that's like, oh, look, there's my family dynamic showing up again. And for others of you, it's like, oh, look, there's my emotional space again. And I just heard I hit pay dirt, you know, and learn to celebrate those things. And this to me is cultivating the spiritual perspective, where things that feel bad from the ego's perspective are actually usually really good from the spiritual perspective, where it's like, ooh, that hurts. But from the spiritual perspective, it's like, that was healing, actually. That was very good. That was very positive. Because now I'm freed from the cycle of ignorance, and I've cleared up my karma, and now I can be different now. So, yeah. Hey, nasty use rush. Peeling back the layers. Moon as in showing your ass. Your whole ass. Anyways, yeah. Okay, that is actually reminding me of one other thing. Because my friend Drew was on here one time, and he said something. He was like, we whole ass things around here. And now Alex and I make that joke to each other, that we whole ass things around here. Well, the thing is, if you're a person who whole asses things, right? You put your whole self in, you put your whole self out, you put your whole self in. If you do that, when you mess up, you're going to mess up with your whole self, okay? And it's going to feel embarrassing maybe, and it's going to maybe have a lot of energy behind it, but it's still a beautiful part of you that you just dedicate your full self to that. I literally got goosebumps when I said that. That is still a very beautiful part of you. You can still like make your correction, but it might feel like a huge mistake because you're like, man, I was like all in with that. And that's okay, but you're going to pull your whole self out. That's just the kind of person you are, is what I'm hearing. It's just the kind of person you are. So know that when you mess up, it's going to be in that way. It's going to have that pattern of like, when I mess up with my whole self, you know? But when I heal with my whole self. It feels like you just throw energy. I feel like that's the kind of person that can just throw a lot of energy. And you probably have a different way or something specific to learn how that's just the way you move energy, is what I'm hearing. So Cheryl, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. This space and channel is so important. Well, thanks. Yeah. No one cheek butts. Can you imagine a world where we had one cheek butts? Actually, like, that would defeat the purpose of a butt. Alex is like, we're not going on this tangent, Jessica. I journal so much after Jess channelings. I love that. That makes me feel so good. Because I like to do that too, where I just like kind of get on a roll with it. I never figure anything out. Sometimes I think I do, which is cute. I never figure anything out, but sometimes I'll just go like on a long walk and I just think the whole time, or like I'll just journal and I think about a lot of stuff. But I like doing that just for its own sake. Anyway, horse squad. I'm a two cheek gal in all places. Well, LOL. I love this community. I love this group. I love that we can talk spirituality. We can talk about all the weird little things that we're attracted to in people. And we can talk about astral travel. I love that we can talk all of that in the same conversation. Yeah. Gets me in my rider mode. Yes. All right. Let go my ego. I love that name. I saw that before too, and I just saw it again and it made me laugh. So, okay. Thank you so much. What's the later in the life chart called again? Navamsa. Navamsa. I'm pretty sure is how you spell it. Navamsa chart. Alex sat there thinking, where did I land with all this filthy talk? Alex is one to talk. What's tomorrow's stream? Tomorrow's stream. Who's counting on you and why? And that's over on Patreon. For those of you that it's not going to be like on this channel. I mean, it's going to come through this channel, but it's limited to Patreon. And this month is weird because it's February. February is a shorty month. So we have the live stream tomorrow. And then actually we're going to take the next week off because usually right after the live stream, we do one of the pre-recorded videos. But just because tomorrow is actually the first of the month and we have polls that go up in order to determine the videos that we do. So it's just not really giving enough time. So we're going to allow like the vote. So it'll be a live stream tomorrow, the next week off, and then we'll do the 2 pre-recorded readings in February. And then the week after that, it's going to be the first week of March. So that's just a heads up on that. Okay. Everyone in my life is counting on me. I say it every time. It's all resonated and helps to widen my own spiritual healing horizons. I'm so glad. The Light Heart Alchemist said, yay, democracy. I couldn't agree more. I'm a girly that feels like we should be expanding democracy. Let me just tell you this one thing. You know what I fantasize about is, because I remember learning in psych that in America, at least, like our legislators, the people who pass the laws, they don't actually have to regulate fields that are like professional fields. There's nothing like that they have to actually turn into law. What these fields have determined through research and practice, these are people who do this kind of thing every single day. They don't actually have to implement best practice into law. So professional organizations, it can create this kind of weird secrecy, fraternity kind of energy within these professional organizations because they really don't like to rat on themselves, because then you turn over to a bunch of lay people, which is like the Congress people, whether it's state legislative bodies or federal, they have to turn over those decisions where they get regulated by somebody who doesn't know the field intimately, who doesn't do this day in and day out, and knows like all the weird little mundane problems that can like come up in that field. So they don't like to do that. So that's why they have their own like justice systems where they try to handle it within their field, so that they when they try to hold themselves accountable, they don't like have legislation. So my fantasy is like, what if we had legislative branches where like certain laws were passed, but it was like in each one of these professional organizations. So when you have like certain levels of training, I think you should have a weighted vote in certain elections. Like if you're a teacher, your vote should be weighted heavier than a layperson when it comes to educational things, because you have hundreds, if not thousands of hours of like education on that. And would I agree with you on everything? No, but like if we voted on more things, if we were more democratic, not less. And so I also think like there should be some kind of, with the overall Congress of like America that makes legislation, I think there should be a communication between them and like the things that are voted on within these professional organizations, where everybody that's a professional card carrying member votes on the laws that they feel like should regulate them. And then it has to go through American Congress to make sure it's not infringing on anybody's rights, and literally only for that, to kind of like pass that, so that and I think again, like the more democracy that we can have, I feel like we need to expand it out. Like, I'm sorry. This has been a very political stream. You guys don't know I don't like to do that, but like, I just wish that just for president. And what if we had no president? What if everything was democratic? Would that be a mess? I don't know. I haven't thought about that part. So don't, I saw a meme. Okay, this is the last political thing that I said. I saw a meme, and it was like, we want smaller government. And it was like, it just kept smaller until it was just a king. And it was like, got it. Call it progress for our lives. Yeah. There's a way to make it work together. I agree. And to give more people voices and not less. And to make sure, again, no taxation without representation, make sure everybody is like Representative. Yeah. I'm going to look up that word. Anacyclosis. Did I say that right? Interesting. We got an anarchist in here. New Earther says we can live without government. I did go through like a big study of anarchism because I was really reading a lot of, what's that guy's name? He wrote The Utopia of Rules. David Graeber. I read a lot of David Graeber stuff. Really interesting guy. He died in COVID in Italy. He was very young. He's written a lot about that, and I find his writing so interesting. But again, like even my forte into that, like I am fascinated by structures of governance, and I like to go off on mental experiments, what I think would work. But again, I don't have any like answers. I think if we could figure that out, it would just be very meaningful. So, a choir of democracy. Yeah. So, everybody's saying let's limit government reach. I think government has a function, and I think that we have to figure out what that function is, because government was the answer to monarchy. Having a monarchy means you have no government. So government guarantees representation of the people. And so we have to understand what that means. And we have to empower the government to do that, because I do think that having certain agreements on things, which is what government can facilitate, I think that's important, because I think that actually gives people more freedom and not less freedom, because it makes you feel safe enough to actually pursue certain things, because just like that emperor energy where it's like, I know what to expect. So I agree. I am an American through and through. I do not like having my rights infringed on, but there's always a dance, I think, between rights and responsibilities. And in America in particular, there's never a talk about responsibilities, ever, almost ever. You hear a lot of people talk about rights and attaching that to freedom, but there's not enough understanding, in my opinion, about what responsibility, the way that actually ties into our freedoms, being held accountable to a system that is bigger than us, and I think government can be that. And I think we should really enforce our government, though. Like, I think they should be scared of us. And I think they should be us. I don't think they should just listen to us. I think they should be us. And I think that's what we haven't figured out, is how to create that kind of system, because there has to be a system. I understand that. I'm very much a systems person. I understand that there has to be a system, but I think we have to tend the system, Yeah. No government is feudalism, which is brutality. Monarchy will not go away, but will morph into something else. Power always likes to morph into something else. That's the other thing too, is like trying to understand that like certain things, they came about, if you try to understand what they came about as an answer to, and this really schizophrenic moment that America is having is like, America wanted a king. People forget that. America wanted George Washington to be a king. And so this push for that kind of dictate over me, like Father, Daddy, God, like it's very American. People don't like to admit that, but there's a bit of like this, and it's Cancer energy too, because Cancer, I'm just sorry if you guys don't like the political talk. I truly am trying to figure this out. Cancer is weird because it's very traditional, but it's liberty as well in a weird way. Yeah. Okay. Rule over me, daddy. Yeah. But then like from that comes democracy. But that was so revolutionary for its time, in the Western world. Because of course we know that there were like Native American tribes that had more of a democratic system and things like that. But that was the answer to that. Like, we don't want to be ruled over. We want to be represented. And so what does that now like transform into? Because like I think it was Thomas Jefferson who said like, we need a pretty regular like overhaul of these systems, because life moves on and things become so complicated. That's another thing that I just feel like in modern times, life has become so complicated. It's like one human mind cannot manage all of these systems. And so what does it look like now to have a system that we all can believe in and trust, and kind of like, what does that look like? I don't know. This is why I also think this is one of my more extreme beliefs. Who do we have to lock in a room? Like kind of like jury duty, and be like, you guys need to come up with a better system. Okay. All the best minds, I know we could never agree on who those people are, but it's like, I think we need a new system, and I don't think anybody knows what that looks like. And I think that the world can't stop. It's kind of like we're building the airplane in the air kind of thing. it kind of reminds me of like the ancient Egyptians put their best minds towards the concept of death. And it's like, I just wish that we could just take a moment in time to put our best minds towards better systems. So, all right, that's the last of my opinions. They're not really opinions. They're more just thoughts that I have. All right. The interconnections. We are coming up with it. Yeah. We need more people in government from all walks of life, not just the ones that were able to afford to be there. I agree. Yeah. That's very American too. You know, bring me your poor, your huddled masses. Like, America is such a weird place. All right. I think that's what I have. Thanks for tolerating me. And thanks for letting me talk about that. And Luna's about to jump up here. I just stopped her. I'm sorry. You can get up here? Dang it. Okay, because I said her name and she looked at me. Anyways. Okay, well, that's what I have for you guys. Thanks for being here. I think you're pretty darn neutral, Jess. Thanks. Talpa, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, can you see her? Is she there? Yes. Okay. This is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. This is what I wanted. Okay. All right. Thanks for showing up. Have a great rest of your day. And I'll see a lot of you tomorrow over on the Patreon stream who is depending on you and why. Bye, guys.